Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap, your bi-weekly, in-depth gaming discussion podcast. I am your host, Brad Ellis, joined by my co-host, as always, Michael Damiani.
How's it going, everyone?
That's right. It's going good.
That's the busy season.
I know. Good Lord.
Busy season stopped?
Oh, busy. Sorry, let me rephrase it. Let me use my adjectives right. Busier season.
Busier season.
Sure.
And our guest this episode is Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello, hello, hello.
The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, Damiani, you said it. The busy season. I mean, it feels like it's been busy season pretty often this year.
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels like they put the foot down on the gas and they never let up.
Yeah.
It was like.
But now it's like deathly. I'm like scared. I'm scared. There's so much stuff to play.
It scared so many people that Devolver had to do a delayed direct to show like, we're getting some stuff out of here.
It's not so bad, man. There's so much stuff to play. So many good games.
Yeah, 2024 is going to need some love. So still got a big game unreleased. Maybe you want to hold on to that?
Yeah, maybe, dude. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I don't like when games get buried. I mean, it just happens. It's just the way it is because there's so many games, but
it's like games that would otherwise be like a kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Even they're kind of like gonna have to fight and compete for attention.
Yeah.
Like we got all these games coming out, and then I was reminded like, oh yeah, like Sea of Stars is also coming out in the middle of like this madness in the next month, and it's like, I hope. I don't think it'll get overlooked, but like I think some people might not get to it till like later, and maybe it's like overlooked at like the end of the year because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that game doesn't get buried. Because that game looks awesome.
Yeah.
I want to root for that game. We always talk about games on here, but we're going to start with something a little bit different. Damiani, you went to the Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concert?
Yes.
Nice.
Tell us about this.
So this is my first time going. I'm doing a Google search for someone's name so I don't get it wrong here while I'm talking about this. We keep talking. Yeah. But this is my first time going to Distant Worlds. I actually had a chance to go back in the early 2000s when it was happening in San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con. But the person I was supposed to go with ended up not being able to go, and I didn't want to go by myself. So I actually ended up passing, gave the tickets away to somebody else and let them go instead. So this was the first time I went to it. I had been to that Final Fantasy VII like reunion concert they did right before end of 2019. Remember they announced the release date?
Yes.
We had our little betting special debacle about that. That was a little underwhelming. I walked away from that not very impressed. But before that, the year before, I got to go to Eorzean Symphony, which is all Final Fantasy XIV music, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is like something I'd wanted to go to because the conductor Arnie Roth has been doing this even before Distant Worlds was a thing. Been conducting these big Final Fantasy concerts and very renowned within Final Fantasy community. And seeing that, they had Susan Calloway, who was the singer for the earlier Final Fantasy XIV theme songs in there, but she also sang some other songs that weren't 14 related, as you'll find out. They had Masashi Hamazu, the composer for Final Fantasy 13, was in the audience as well.
Cool.
So they had the usual kind of like guests and everything like that.
Yeah, that's one thing that was fun because I went to the one last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, they tend to have little not big deal, but little surprises that you aren't expecting. Like Yoko Shimomura was there. It was like, oh, she's right there. Oh, okay, cool. And I think the vocalist from Final Fantasy X was at the one I went.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so
this was it was just nice to hear a lot of these songs. They did some they brought back some. They pointed out that this was interesting because Arnie Roth kind of gives you a rundown of what you're about to hear. He kind of teases a song that you're about to hear, but then says, "But first, we're gonna play this song." So you're never kind of surprised, which is interesting because in the other two concerts, they don't like most every concert, they don't announce what they're about to play. It's just kind of like a surprise, and then there's an encore or something, and that's also a surprise.
Did you get a playbook at all, or?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was so. I'll say this. There was a Girls' Generation concert going on next door at Crypto.com. So it was a madhouse trying to go anywhere down there.
Yeah.
Most of the parking was already closed off. Ooh. But thankfully, the hotel across the street was doing parking and was still open. So I just because I was gonna try and park at LA Live, and they're like, no, it's completely full. And I was like, oh, okay, so I will just park right, because I passed all these parking spots, like, oh yeah, like parking lot, and I was like, I'm just gonna go here. But then walking over there, felt like. If you ever been to San Diego Comic-Con in the exhibit hall, it felt that like shoulder crowded just to walk through the LA Live like courtyard area.
Wow.
Like all the food restaurants were packed. Like people were like just like trying to like hang around like the railings there. It's kind of a bit of a chaos. But once you got into the theater, it was a little bit better. But like the merch line was gigantic. You remember at FanFest, like the merch line was like a big deal. So this one was the first place you could buy the new album, the Distant Worlds Volume 6.
Okay.
And it's only for pre-order online, so you could get it in person physically there and actually have it. So obviously, and they sell those music boxes, so people were like, yeah. So it was like, a lot of people are there, but it was like a very nice theater. Obviously, been there before. But yeah, they played a lot of great tracks.
Okay.
And they brought back some things I hadn't done in a long time. So Bloodworth, I feel bad that you weren't at this one.
Oh, shoot.
So you being a huge, I know you're really into Final Fantasy 6 and obviously also into Final Fantasy music. They did a full 14-minute rendition of the opera scene from Final Fantasy 6. Yeah. They even had a narrator come on stage to do like VO for like describing like the in-game text, as well as just like setting the mood and everything, which was kind of cool. And the 3 soloists. Maria it's Draco, so it's not Draco, it's Draco.
Okay.
And Prince, forget his names, Rouse or something. Yeah. They came out like the 2 dudes got like they looked like Ren Fair. They go sick, but goth Ren Fair, like flowing capes, these shoulder pad things.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Cool.
And they were really good. They did like the whole thing. It was insane. Really well done, and like they said, like they hadn't done it in like 10 years. They brought it back for this, so that was special. They did Eyes on Me with Susan Calloway doing the vocals for that one. They said that hadn't been played in a long time. They were bringing it back. They did To Xanarkin, personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, of course.
But they also pointed out that when they first started Distant Worlds in 2007, they said that song was going to be a staple. It will be in every single performance they did. So it's like, thank you for choosing that one.
That's like the song you think of when you think 10.
I was like, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
They kept teasing, we'll get to remake music at some point. Because we was like, there were like people in the audience who were like really passionate. There's one dude who hollering in just for every song, going nuts. He was like super passionate. It was great. And when they like talked about, they said, okay, it's finally remake time, but I want you all be very enthusiastic because maybe it'll get Square Enix to release Rebirth faster.
Oh my god! And
everyone in the crowd started going nuts because they thought they were going to say something about Rebirth. Like, nah, not a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, no way.
Yeah. No, other great ones they did. So they played. There was a Final Fantasy medley at the beginning. So they play like
the main theme.
Yeah, the main theme, and they kind of show footage from all the games. They went all the way to 16. Mm-hmm. They showed Clive. They showed Ifrit.
Yeah.
Also in the ending credits too, but no 16 music. That was my one small disappointment. Is we didn't get anything from 16, and this is like the start of their next the volume 6. I was like, oh no, I wanted 16 music. Yeah. That's okay. They did Final Fantasy 8 music.
Okay.
Which one they do? The really big song. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it right now. Is it Memories of Life, or is that it?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Or is that 9? I'm trying to remember. They did
that
8.
Might be 9,
they did 8, 9. Oh, Eyes on Me is 8. Sorry. 9 they did Memories of Life. 10 they did To Xanarkin. No 11 music, unfortunately. No 12.
I think they might have had some 11 at the one I went to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. No 12 music.
Really? No 12?
No 12 music. 13 they did Saber's Edge.
Okay.
Obviously. Mm-hmm. It was, really nice to hear. They did a lot of 14 music.
Of course they did.
So they had
off.
Susan Calloway do Dragon Song, Heavensward's theme. They did Invincible, like the Stormblood, the Hades music from Shadowbringers, and then they did the battle theme music from Stormblood.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And it was nice because they put together they're showing gameplay, but obviously the 14 team does their own style of video, so it was done kind of like how they do all theirs, which is really nice. A lot of good. Like it was nice to see how good they are without UI and like their camera tools. I was like, oh yeah, why don't you kind of give those to us? And, there's G-pose, but like in battle, you're like really can't do that. It's like, can we get some of those tools? 15. They played a track from 15. Which one did they play?
Not Sominus.
No, right? It was something else. I forget. I was kind of like mesmerized by like the footage of it because it was one of the DLC things I didn't play.
Was it Arden?
No, the first one, Ignis, or was it?
Gladiolus? Was he?
No, not him. The other. It was definitely Ignis.
Ignis, okay.
And it was like all set in like the Leviathan area and stuff. Okay. I was like, and there's like a boat part gameplay with the boat. Like, wait, what is? I was like, wait, what? I didn't see this. I was like, oh, this must be the DLC.
Yeah. I didn't play any of those.
So I was just like, the gameplay was actually distracting me at because I'm like, oh my god, I never saw any. I saw his gameplay. And I was like, whoa. I missed out on this. So I was kind of like,
you're just running the Leviathan fight, and I'm just like,
yeah. Well, they had like Titan there fighting Leviathan. I was like,
whoa, punching him or something.
Yeah, I was like, yo, where was this? But for 7, for remake, they did a Jesse's theme.
Oh, I love that song.
They picked that one, and
did they bring out a classical guitar for it?
They did. They did a really good rendition of it. I don't think they had a classic guitar for it because it's just an opera concert. And it was very well done. The video of it, like very emotional. Like, and I was like kind of happy that
did it show like her house
and
her parents?
And the way it was cut, if you had never seen Everything 7, you'd be like, oh, like her and Cloud are an item.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh funny. Man, like this is like
shipping wars, dude.
It was funny. I was sitting right behind like an Aerith cosplayer, so I was like, oh,
that's funny.
And that's what they did for their second song. This was a highlight for me. They did the Honeybee Inn minigame music.
Oh, really? That's funny.
And they had like the choirs singing.
That is funny.
Stuff. And it was like really insane. I was like, oh, we're gonna do this. And I was like, almost like it kind of needed like a more big band feel, I feel like, but they like did their best with it, and they're having fun.
These kind of things is like some of the songs are not written for these types of arrangements whatsoever, and so it's really hard for them to pull off the same vibes. The first one I went to, I think, was like just like the second year that they were doing them. And that was when the Black Mages were still a thing.
Oh, heck yeah.
And so they had like a whole section of just the Black Mages stuff, and it was fantastic. And like, I don't know if it was exactly the finale, but like towards the end, they had One Winged Angel with a big, massive choir that came out.
Cool.
And the Black Mages and the orchestra. It was just like one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen.
It's a dream. That's a dream of mine, is to have see the Black Mages play, and then like have them combine with the Primals, the 14 band, and do like a big, awesome, like dude. Awesome thing. That'd be like the sickest thing that they haven't.
Wow, we gotta sort that out, dude.
Yeah. For the OG Final Fantasy VII, they played Cosmo Canyon, man. So good. Dude. Really good. And yeah, their encore song was One Winged Angel, Advent Children version. And
with the guitar. Did they bring out the guitar then?
They did. Okay. So one thing I'll say is, I don't know if they did it in yours or if you've heard them doing this, but like Arnie Roth asked the audience to please do the Sephiroth part.
Oh,
so every time it would dun dun dun, he'd look at the audience and the audience like Sephiroth. He's like, you guys are gonna be a part of this. Yeah. It's like that was pretty cool.
That is sick.
He had us like sing that part, and like they were like doing the piano notes for us, like to get us like, all right. So he's like explain dynamics. So there's something in music called dynamics.
Oh, that's fun.
He just drops this knowledge bomb on everybody. He's like, so we're gonna try it again now, knowing that. I was like, yeah, here we go. So it was good. I mean, no 4 music. I would have
no 5 either.
Yeah, no 2, 3, 4, 5. They were. It was just the Final Fantasy medley and then the prelude melody they did for the ending credits, which was really nice.
Yeah,
because they did just like really good like silhouettes of like the main characters like covered in fog and smoke. It was really sick.
Cool.
I was like, dude, this should be like a Dissidia credit scene. This is sick. I was like, maybe it was, and I just don't know. And I was like,
maybe.
But it was. I mean, it had Clive at the end, so I was like, that's not yet. So
not yet.
Yeah, like the crowd was like really digging it. I mean, it was just, sound quality was great. Yeah, it was like a really good songs. So, I mean, it was only 2 hours, so Very short. The one thing I did forget, they did a Chocobo medley.
Oh, do you know like what they based it off, or just kind of
it was kind of like the classic, and then they kind of did like more of like a swing version in the middle. They switched to that. The video was edited to be very funny, and they achieved it with that. They also had the choir section. It felt like I was at a sporting event at a stadium because they were shouting and chanting the letters spelling Chocobo. So there'd be a part where they could be like C H O C O B O, and I was like, all right, well, all right.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's funny.
Now I need let's get a Final Fantasy sporting event and do that. Blitzball, please. Yeah. Good stuff.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
This is a shame that they do seem to come around pretty frequently. And again, this was in LA. They have like a lot of upcoming tour dates in the US and the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. So there's opportunities to go see them. It's just the rotation they play that might not have a song that you've been waiting to hear.
Yeah. It's just you kind of just get what you get.
Yeah. So that was like the only thing. Sure. And now I have to look forward to whenever they're gonna play 16 music in concert form. It's like one an action. Like when are you gonna do that?
Intense, dude. Yeah.
I'm jealous because the Keeley's thing had a 16 song. Yeah. It was like only. I watched the video of it. It was only 3 minutes. But I want to hear it. Indoors at at a venue like this.
Me too.
And I want to hear more than just that. I want to hear a nice suite.
Yeah, I want Soak in there also.
Yeah.
That guy is entertaining, man. He has a lot of charisma on stage.
Yes.
At FanFest, he was so good.
I mean, he's pretty insane when he does his antics. I mean, the guy just brings energy. I don't know how he does it after all those days of doing regular stuff. It's like, all right, he still manages to do this. But I mean, we love him for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just wrap this up. I mean, if I could have a dream fulfilled, it'd be get all those legendary composers together just one time. Even if I could be in person for it, if they could stream it a big anniversary event. So looking for the 50th anniversary when we get up there soon.
Wow.
In 13 years from now.
Yeah.
Get Uematsu. Get
40th year maybe.
Maybe 40th year. Hey, sooner the better.
Yeah.
But just get every big composer.
Yeah.
And together on stage, and it's just have them when Keeley got the big three on stage for the Game Awards. It's they don't have to really be composing or anything or conducting. But just have them come out on stage and let everyone celebrate them together.
Yeah,
that would have been sick.
Yeah, get Yoko Shimomura up there, dude. And I would love it off-brand if they just let her do Guile's theme. Just let that play. Everyone would respect the Guile's theme. Damiani, I'm hoping so. They've done the Kingdom Hearts concerts before.
Yes.
With 4 whenever that comes out.
Oh, they'll probably.
Hopefully, I'll make that one. I want to see one of those.
They'll probably do something for that for sure.
Yeah.
They seem to time around those releases. So, yeah. And whenever we get Rebirth, we'll get some new.
That's right. Did you run into any friends or?
So I saw a few. I didn't get to talk to very many people there because it was so crowded.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get to say hi to them, but I saw Stephanie from Square Enix there.
Oh, okay, cool.
I saw a few other people from Square Enix, but I didn't they were sitting not too far away, but I didn't see them until right it was about to begin. And in their intermission, everyone ran to go get to the merch line.
Yeah.
And then the person one of the people I was sitting next to came back and said they were telling me, oh, I'm gonna go try and get merch. I'm like, okay, cool. And then they came back and there were people who must have stayed out there the whole time during the first half and never left because there was still a line. It was yep, merch, man.
I mean, I understand the appeal of merch at an event like that, especially. It's extra appealing, but damn, you gotta watch that concert, dude.
Yeah. I saw. Yeah, I was trying to Twitter to see people. All I saw was Ash Paulson was there, and then right when I turned off my phone, he must have DM'd me to sorry. He was DMing me when I was leaving, and I hadn't turned my phone back on in time. And he was like, "Oh, you want to meet up over here?" And I was like, "Oh crap, I'm already getting my car." And I was like, yeah. So I think there were a few other people there, but yeah, it's a good time. Didn't see too many. I saw a few costumes. Okay, one thing, the 13 composer, right as Saber's Edge began, two 9 cosplayers went to that row that was where their seats are and start asking, like they were saying, like, excuse me, and start walking by, like to get to their seats as their song's playing. And I was like, worst timing. I was like, oh no. And I think I saw the handler next to them, and I think he was just shaking his head, like, I was like, because I don't think they had any idea who it was.
Yeah.
I was like, yikes. I was
Jeez. Unfortunate. Damn, that sounds sick though. Wish I could have gone, but I was busy with other stuff.
Yeah, those are a good time.
But yeah, hopefully in the future. All right, let's talk about a video game, actually, now, Blood. Venba, short little game. You played through this. You've been keeping an eye on this, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's popped up in a lot of little showcases, and it's had demos and things like that. And it's just a really just amazing, like, heartfelt kind of, getting to know this family. And it's and short is for real. It's like it's 2 hours, so it's like, yeah, if you're thinking of putting on a movie for the night, might as well, play through this, because there's not a whole lot. It's more of a narrative game, and then you've got the cooking elements in between. But it's like if you like compare it to like another game, like a cooking section is almost like a boss battle in a way. It's like you're doing a lot of other stuff before you get to that cooking. It's not like Cooking Mama where you're doing one thing after another after another. It's like it's part of a broader chapter. And Venba is actually the name of the mom of this family. And they are immigrants from South India, and they live in Canada. And they're just like trying to make a life, and just going through like all the process and cultural differences, and trying to wrestle with the language and the doubts about like, are we doing the right thing? Is the best thing for our family, and all of that kind of stuff. And just like really, like, I know Huber's gonna love this game.
Yeah, he's
like,
going to.
Just that whole like that family vibes and all of that. And it starts in like 1988 and goes like 30 years, like 2017, I think is like the last chapter or whatever. And just dealing with those like these ideas of, it's like they have a kid, and then the kid is like, he just wants to be quote unquote normal, and they feel like they're kind of losing him as to like, oh, he's embarrassed to eat his lunch and all of that stuff, the stuff that you're making for him, because
it's so different or something.
Food is so different than, and they're like the culture or region or language or whatever is called Tamil. It's like it's even different than like other types of like what we think of as like stereotypical Indian food. Although there are some things that you recognize, but like for the most part, like everything I was like looking at is like, I don't know, I don't even know what this thing the thing that I'm cooking with is right now. Just like the first thing you do is like making these little like kind of like cakey, like pancakey kind of things called idli. And it's like, and you're going through your mom's recipe book and you're trying to follow the recipe, and but there are bits missing or bits that are like smudged out, and so it's almost like a little bit like a puzzle game. It's like, okay, I kind of see most of this, but I can't just go step by step. I have to like fill in the blanks a little bit on my own, and so like, put the things into the right spots and all that, and hold on. I'll get rid of this. Yeah, we'll give it a second. Oh goodness.
What?
I don't even know. It's for like, it was for the printer or something. Anyways. I think it's good.
I can see that little arrow.
Oh, I think it goes away when you leave it.
Go away. Okay, whatever. There we go.
I think you got it.
All right, sorry.
Anyways.
Our computer is going
I
crazy.
don't even know.
Wait, hold on, Blood. Let me talk about this cooking, though. So what's it like when you're cooking, actually? Like, what is the quote-unquote gameplay of this?
Yeah, so essentially, like I said, you've got the recipe book, and you kind of can look through the steps, and then you've got, like, whatever, like, ingredients are there, and the different, whatever the devices, the pot or the skillet or whatever you've got to have. And so, like... And then in trying to like figure out like what all the right steps are, and you can fail. Like I failed the first one because I didn't quite, like know like what did you want me to like, because there's like a stack of towels there, and like what am I supposed to do with the towels? And she wasn't sure what to do with the towels because it was her mom's recipe, and there's a lot of things like that where you're going through. And it's like, I haven't had this since I was a kid, sort of thing. But we're making this special celebration. one of the ones that I thought was really cool, and it took me a few tries to quite get it right, was they were trying to they were like celebrating like the kid like acing his English test or something like this, and they're like, we can make you anything you want. What do you want? And he's like, I want pizza. That's not the answer they wanted.
Pizza's good.
And he's like, you eat pizza a lot. But they
Hold
made
on.
this.
Sidetrack.
Yeah.
Do you guys like margarita pizza?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
why?
I
just think it's okay.
What? Oh, I mean,
not something
I don't
just curious.
Going
I don't
for.
eat pizza as much anymore, but like, I mean, I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious. Just checking.
There actually was a place where I used to live that was like a pizza, Indian pizza place. They fuse like traditional Indian dishes with pizza. Like their chicken tikka masala pizza was actually pretty good.
Wow, crazy. Yeah. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Blood.
Anyways, but they wanted to have, they wanted to make something for him, right? It's like, we want to make something at home. And then she remembered, this thing that, and like a lot of things she was suggesting, it's like, no, we eat that all the time. But she was like, oh, we can have this thing, I think it's called putu. And it's like a rocket going off. And so it's like you have this big like cylinder, and I guess it's got like a pressure valve or whatever. And then, when you raise it up, then there's like a big like a big tower kind of thing. Okay. But yeah, so you kind of go through and like figure out how to make it right, and if you make it wrong, then it kind of falls apart, and you try again. Mm-hmm. And like I said, those are just sort of points that like punctuate like these different chapters in their lives, and so they skip like huge chunks of time, and just seeing, it's just like one of these things where like you really just kind of like get to know what people are going through, different cultural backgrounds, like learning like all of these things that like I don't even know what the name for this is, and just trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
How does the length feel? 2 hours like may seem short to some people, but does it just feel appropriate for what they're telling?
Yeah, it totally
works. Okay,
yeah,
cool. So I guess the only like the main focus of this game is the narrative, I would say, probably, right?
Yeah. It's the narrative and the food, and the art is just so like big and bold and gorgeous, and
I guess my question,
and dealing with just the generational differences too.
I guess the gameplay is cooking necessarily, but as this character, do you explore your environment at all, or is it just kind of like narrative points to the cooking, then you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all kind of basic point and click kind of stuff. There are some points where you have like little dialogue choices where you like might have two different things that you can say to like address the situation or whatever. But and then you also because it's such a long span of time, you kind of see how they grow and they change, and the family like growing apart in points and then coming back together and resolving conflicts, and so it's that kind of thing where it's like you feel like you really, really get to know these characters, even though it's such a short amount of time.
Yeah. Is this on everything? As far as you're aware?
I don't know everything that it's on. It is on Game Pass.
Okay.
But I do think it's probably on PC and PlayStation and Switch too.
Do you know how much this is if you don't have Game Pass?
I want to say it's like $12 or $15.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Yeah. But seems totally reasonable to me.
Can look it up. I'm sorry. I never write down the fact sheet details.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Seems cool, Blood. Just a nice little game. Mike likes to say, get those bonds with that family.
Yeah.
Quick hitter.
Yeah, it like the excellence of it really stands out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the music, I forgot about that.
Okay.
When you get to when you're doing a cooking thing, she like goes in the kitchen and like turns up the radio, and the songs are just fantastic. I love Indian music. I don't like listen to it a ton, but whenever I hear it, I love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really, and there's stuff I'm curious about it too, because I'm like, because they go through these different years and all this time, and like I wonder, like they try to like capture like the type of music that would be played in the 80s versus played in like 2016 or what, like, did they mess around with that at all, or I don't know, but I like it.
Cool.
A lot.
Sounds fun.
And my wife sat there and like put her headphones on and watched a lot of it with me too.
Sounds like a good candidate for our best game to finish playing one night kind of thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Sweet. All right, Damiani, you play this with Huber.
Yes.
I played a little bit of this. Seems cool. Let's talk about Double Dragon Gaiden.
Oh,
the
yes.
beat 'em up era is back.
Beat 'em up
Thriving.
renaissance. I know, like, we do not have Huber here to like go just like gush about this because
But it is good because I remember there's like some reservations when we first saw it.
I think it was mostly about the visual style, because it was such a departure from the older Double Dragon games. At least I can't picture Double Dragon Neon's visuals in my head right now, but the OG games didn't look like this. Although the loading screen does pay tribute to that by using like more OG style sprites, which is kind of nice. And then we were like, all right, as long as the depth and like the gameplay hook is there, then it's fine. Like, we're less concerned. And in action, Huber was right. Huber said, I think in action when we're playing it, it's going to be fine. You won't even notice it. Yeah, wasn't even really calling any attention to like it looks good in action. It's just very, to me, it's very simple. It has a great gameplay loop, and it is meant to be replayed because it's so short to play through. But they do very cool, unique things with this. I don't think it's the most in-depth of the newer beat-em-ups. I would say, like, Streets of Rage 4 is still, like, the pinnacle. And I think it and Turtles probably have the most complex, like, combat systems. Like, Streets of Rage actually has, like, a fighting game move list that you can see for each character that evolves as you upgrade them. And Turtles has some pretty comprehensive stuff. This is a little bit more, I think, simpler because there are so many different characters, and they wanted to keep it, like, Double Dragon, I don't think is very complex in its beat-em-up style, but it is about the way levels change and how you and the order you decide to play them. It is only 4 stages long.
Oh, wow.
But each stage, so when you start on the first stage, it's only 1 level. The next stage you go to will have 2 levels, and it will increase. And whatever order you pick them in on your next playthrough, so you might only see 1 level of 1 stage.
Got it.
And if you come back there and you do it like the second, you might get 2 levels. You'll see second level of it, and then third level, and so on. Bosses change. It's the same character, but what they like with their mechanics and where you fight them,
that's cool,
also change, which is really cool. So you are getting multiple unique experiences by like playing through these like short. It's like paths basically. So it's deceptively short, but it is so it entices you to replay it because the progression system is you earn cash in the match. Sorry, in a round. And you spend it on upgrades. You have 2 characters, so it's tag team style. Each player, it's up to 2 players, local co-op only, I believe. And you can pick from one of 2. You can pick up to 2 characters. So they have Billy and Jimmy, obviously. They had Miriam, and they have other unlockable characters. I forget the last character, but they have like a Bobo.
You can play as a Bobo?
Oh, yeah. When I saw Bobo as unlocked, I was like, dude, you ever bust out a Bobo? And Bobo's got these grapple moves. It was like just sick to see a Bobo. All the boss characters are unlockable. They had some other ones we just didn't get to. But as you complete a level, you have a cash pool shared between the 2 of you, or just by yourself if you're solo. You can purchase upgrades, and they're only applicable to that run. So they're not permanent upgrades, they're just for that. Now you can say, I don't want to upgrade anything and keep the cash, because at the end of your playthrough, you cash out and get tokens. They're like poker chips, so they call them tokens. Those tokens are used to unlock new characters and other unlockables such as like artwork or music. Nice. They actually had unused music on there, like unused track 1. And he was like, we got to get that first. And I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's listen to that. And like, oh, okay, that's good music. So they have a lot of collectibles to earn. And that's kind of like the decision you want to do. Do you want to like get to the end, or do you want to like cash out at any point and just like take your earnings and unlock new characters? So there's no like permanent upgrade system. So that's a little bit maybe different, because I know a few of the, like especially Streets of Rage, you do invest in your characters. So that might, be a turnoff to some people, that it doesn't go as in depth. But it already is tapping into Mr. X's nightmare system of that for the roguelite, in that like your run, you do have upgrades that will carry over, and that decision making, like which ones do you want to spend on, because you only get to choose one, and you're kind of like, that's your build. And if you don't like if you don't get that to come up again, because it's random what will come up for you to purchase. You can't just buy anything. It's like one of a certain amount of options, and some of those options are tokens. Like you can buy some extra tokens, and then the last option is always like cash out. So what do you want to go? Do you want to upgrade your special ability? So this is different. Your special ability, it's not a risk reward system like Streets of Rage where it goes like into like gray health or whatever, where you can or green health where you can regenerate it back. Sorry, red health and earn it back if you don't get hit. It is just a cooldown system, and you have a special meter, and when you burn it, you have to wait for it to recharge. You can upgrade that so it recharges faster, or if you like more offensive, you'll charge it faster. But it's also your tag meter as well. Unless your special is filled, you can't tag out a character.
Yeah, why don't you explain this tag system a little more?
So so you pick your 2 characters. You start the level as the primary character you picked. At any point, as long as you have meter, you can hit one of any button. You can reconfigure it how you want. The assist button, and they'll swap out for you. If you just do it neutrally, they'll just drop in. But if you're being attacked by an enemy, like they're comboing on you, and you have the meter, you can use it to break that combo and be safe. So it's a combo breaker essentially, which is kind of nice. So if you get hit by an enemy, it's like, and you got the meter, spend it because you can bail them out, and it's like a get out of jail free.
Do your characters just teleport to the other one, or is it like Marvel vs. Capcom?
They just drop down. They drop down on where they are. It's like this kind of like a not sonic boom, but kind of like a shockwave type effect in the air, and then they just appear below. Like that pushes enemies away, or the enemy that's attacking you, it pushes them away for a second, lets you drop down safely. Your other character, I think, just hops off or just jumps up as well. And then they can also regenerate health. Any of their gray health, blue health, what it is that can be regenerated, it takes time. And so sometimes it's strategic. It's there's no way to heal right now, and they're low in health, but they could regenerate a lot of health. Let me swap them out. So especially when you're in a downtime segment where there's no enemies, you might want to take the time to let's swap out characters, let them heal up, and then we'll proceed. But there is food. There is healing items. They do just randomly appear. There's destructible objects in the environment you can use. There's weapons you can pick up.
Gotta have weapons.
And the beauty of weapons and your special move is that you get KO hits, one-hit KOs. When you string those together, you hit 3 or more enemies, it will generate food for you. So 3 is like a hamburger, 4 KOs combined is a hot dog, and 5 is a turkey. Okay. So you want to get a bunch of those enemies grouped up and use your special on them, and you just keep getting food from them, so you can keep yourselves healed.
Nice.
And it's a nice system that rewards you for playing into that system. And it just feels really good to play. They got some platforming segments.
Yeah.
There's the one where there's it's an abandoned warehouse or a apartment complex or something, and the floors and the higher floors aren't all there, and you gotta jump the gaps. Enemies burst out the doors at inopportune times. It's oh no, and there's an elevator sequence. There's a boss fight on the top where this is the roof. You can throw people off. You can get knocked off. The boss charges you. If you get caught once, you're going off the roof. It's they have a lot of those shenanigans going on. Not as many. They have a few environmental hazards, the Pharaoh boss dude converted made a pyramid out of trash in the trash yard, and in there's parts with spikes and electrified fences, and and especially on the ground too, the grading, and it's you got to deal with some of those types of things as well, while also dealing with these waves of enemies. And they're Huber really wanted to do air grabs a lot. He was dude, please do the air grabs. It's so sick. And it's all right, we'll do we'll do. He's a Boba's got this sick air grab. I'm all right, it looks sick. And it does look sick. It's wrestling style. But Miriam is range.
Mm-hmm.
She's she uses a gun.
Right?
So you just stay back, fire off rounds, you got to reload, but then her specials are insane. She's got a bazooka as far as a rocket that's from range that just annihilates people. She's got a scorpion get over here grapple thing that'll pull people from a range distance, and then she gets something a landmine thing that anyone entrapped in it gets hit by this electric field. It just zaps them and stuff. Whereas others, it's just Billy and Jimmy, it's they're big flash kick, or sure you can move. A Bobo's got this big dash shoulder kind of tackle move.
Yeah.
And there were a few other characters we didn't get to but obviously he played as the the Yakuza boss. She
right. I played as her.
Like her sword swings were cool, but he was complaining she like moves
Very
pretty
slow.
Yeah. Whereas some other like Miriam is not very agile.
Mm-hmm.
Like you jump with her, she has a lot of recovery when she lands. And same thing with, but whereas like Billy and Jimmy are more agile, they don't need as much recovery.
Yeah.
So there's some variance there in characters, play styles too, which is pretty sick.
So you said depending on what order you go in for the 4 stages, you get additional stages as you go on for each level, right? So
yeah. So
whatever one you start with is 1, then the next one will be 2, then 3, then 4.
Yeah.
How different did these feel from each other, I guess? Like, did it seem like just copy pasta of assets, or did it feel like completely new stuff?
No, it's like, so for example, like the trash pyramid, if you only do that first, you only get to fight outside of it. Then if you get to level 2, you go inside the pyramid. So it's like catacomb type vibes, like Indiana Jones, like Tomb Raider style. Mm-hmm. So you get something like that where, you get deeper. So they don't feel copy pasted. Each level is pretty unique looking, but still suits the theme of the environment it's around.
I like this idea. Do you think maybe it would have been better if it was just every level at once? Or do you like the idea of replaying it?
I think there should be a mode that allows you to once you beat one, or if you've seen every variation, like you could just play like a long playthrough. Do like a gauntlet version where you're gonna play all 3, 6, 9, 12.
I could see them adding it because they've been with a lot of these others. They've been adding these different modes like Mr. X Nightmare and stuff like that, and then Ninja Turtles has one coming up too.
Yep.
So I could see them really doing simple things like that, bolted on extra modes.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, there's modifiers for the difficulty. So we played on the default settings, and I think we didn't complete on our first attempt. We did wipe, but we didn't use a continue because he didn't want to burn the cash. He wanted us to unlock some characters with the tokens first. But I mean, you can set it to like permadeath, no continues, and like the higher difficulty you set it, the better your rewards are.
Oh, great!
So if you're trying to like farm for more tokens, you're good. Mm-hmm. Because what I wanted to say is I think on normal difficulty it was a little easy.
Sure.
Not nearly as challenging as any of the old Double Dragons.
Right.
But we didn't try it on the harder settings. Maybe Huber has in the time since, and he could speak to it's actually pretty legit difficult. But at least they had that option in there for you. So there are like 4 or 5 different modifiers, and they each had like 5 different settings, like from the easiest to the hardest. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I can see how some people might think it's a little bit bare bones compared to other contemporaries. But it isn't like it's not full price. It's probably
like 25, 30.
I think it's like 30. I think it's $29.99.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'll say though, like it's it's gonna start to take a lot to stand out now because we have so many excellent ones coming out. And if you don't have that good, solid initial release, I think it's hard. Like it's gonna be easy to be overlooked.
Yeah.
Example is River City Girls 2 came out with that bad frame rate issue. I'm pretty sure they said they were gonna fix it, and it might have been fixed by now. But I think a lot of people moved on because we got Turtles, we got this. Hopefully this leads to more revivals or more chances for games that maybe didn't have as good of a revival attempt. Battletoads would be sick.
That's funny you brought that up because I was thinking there was Battletoads Double Dragon.
Yes.
I was like, if I was Microsoft, I'd be like, hey, do you want to make a Battletoads?
Oh yes,
Double Dragon game or something?
That would be if you want to get people to like take another look at this game. You announce like, oh, the first update to this game. Guess what? Battletoads Double Dragon's happening.
Yeah.
So that's your new mode. It's like, okay, there we go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. Yeah, because the Battletoads, they didn't get the love they probably should have got.
Yeah. It's got like the music. Oh, the title screen. Like I made Huber like, dude, we're listening to this whole song. Like good new arrangements of the classic music. It's all there. Really cool. Really goofy story. It's like, just like this mayor wants to clean up the streets, gets a little like dystopian at one point. You have 2 options for how you want to end the game too. It's hilarious. Like you can do one thing or you can do the other thing, and it was pretty sick our reaction seeing to the option we first picked. We're like, dude, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we went back and saw the other option, and we're like, all right, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been great to see kind of beat 'em ups get a second life after so long, because they were such a staple in the 2D era. And they kind of went away, it felt like, during PS2 till now, essentially. So it's great to see them come back, especially Double Dragon, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they've tried to do a few revivals, but they never really
caught on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see this. I think this is probably like the strongest one they've made. This like it's definitely more approachable. They kept it at 2-player only for co-op. So like other ones like Streets of Rage, Turtles, you definitely can get more people
4
in.
6, yeah.
So that might be
maybe they'll do an update later.
Yeah,
hopefully, it seems like beat 'em ups get big updates.
But they have the tag system though, so that's like I think that's like the equalizer there, and yeah. I mean, also another contender for best game to play finish in one night, but obviously you want to see him do everything. It's definitely not taking one night.
Yeah,
right?
It'll take a few nights. Quote unquote beat the game, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah. So it's a small time investment if you just want to sample it.
You got a friend you want to play with or someone, beat up some thugs. Seems cool. It looked fun. For what I played of it, it was fun, so I'll have to get to it sometime also.
Yeah, credit to Huber for getting me into these beat 'em ups.
Yeah. Did you play beat 'em ups a lot growing up?
I mean, I did. I played it. I like the Turtles, Ninja Turtles arcade game. Ninja Turtles arcade game, Turtles in Time, The Simpsons, and X-Men.
Okay, yeah.
And I played a ton of those. I did some Final Fight. I had that on Super Nintendo, and I played that a lot. But beyond those, I just never went back into that genre after those games their time, and I just drifted away from it and didn't really get back into it. So yeah, Huber really selling Streets of Rage 4 and Mr. X's Nightmare. I still think that is the best content update of any of these games. I mean, we'll see what the Turtles one has to offer,
right.
But yeah, that mode is just so good. So you can just replay it so many times, and it's so fun.
Dang, I hope Final Fight comes back now.
Yeah, I mean, they just announced. Yeah. We covered in the Evo news the King of Fighters.
Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury. Thank you.
Wolves,
Jeez, yeah. I was like, it's just eluding me, but first new one in how long? So it's
yeah, but that's a fighting game though, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, revival. Some of
Final
those characters,
Fight's not.
Some of those characters,
I know,
SNK characters,
I know some of the characters.
It could lead to it. Maybe they have a mode in it that's Final Fight. They throw it in there.
But Final Fight's Capcom.
Yeah, Final Fight's Capcom.
The crossover.
Capcom's already crossing Final Fight stuff into Street Fighter.
This is gonna lead to CVS. This is what I'm trying to get at. This is leading to CVS. This is leading to CVS revival. Here we go. Capcom, SNK, they're getting back together. Because people want Marvel, but doesn't seem to be happening. So it's you know what? Next best thing. Let's get CVS back. So let's do it. Let's get Capcom.
That would be
SNK,
awesome.
Get that together. How sick would it be if they Capcom's you can have we're gonna allow you to have Final Fight and that's the tease. It's because that and then when you beat it, the announcement is guess what? CVS trailer, right?
Oh my god, dude. That'd be sick. I hope that happens. It won't though.
Hagar again.
I know, yeah. The mayor, dude.
Dude, the mayor.
Isn't he the statue of him in Street Fighter 6? Yeah. It's crazy. And Cody's and Street Fighter games and stuff.
Dude.
Damn, dude.
Just want Terry and Hagar to fight together. Terry will go.
Yeah, man.
Just on the street together, just busting up.
Yeah, Terry Bogard's awesome. Gotta have the hat though. I've seen the teasers.
Oh yeah,
the hat.
Yeah.
It's Terry's sick no matter what, but I want the hat still. I hope there's a costume with the hat.
Yeah, they'll definitely have an alt costume for that.
Gotta have the classic one.
Heck yeah. He made it in Smash.
That's true, he did. That is so
Smash.
sick. I forgot about that.
That's a big deal.
Man, what a sick character to add to that game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for Sort It Out! This is just a segment where, we just talk about something that's bothering us in the gaming industry. Game, company, something that needs some sorting out. Do you guys have one this week or this episode?
I just thought of one.
Can be minor.
It's so stupid and minor, and it doesn't apply to anybody else. It's a completely Bloodworth problem.
Okay.
When you redeem a code on any of these systems, they send you an email receipt.
Yes.
For a thing that you didn't buy, you just got for free. And I don't need that receipt.
You don't need it.
I don't need it. And then so when I do this thing once a month, after everybody's picked over everything that they want, we still have a bunch of things left. And then I'm once I'm done, I have 80 emails in my
to go through, yeah.
Just to go through and mark as read,
Or blood.
Yeah, put it on the group account.
Yeah, put them on the group account so that one day we could do a grab bag or whatever. Yeah. We probably would have to do a roulette wheel before so that we make sure we get them all downloaded ahead of time. But yeah, just whatever random thing is gonna pop up.
Yeah,
I'd probably have to I don't know how we would actually do it because I'd have to list out all the games on each one thing too that we own, but.
Yeah, that'd be a lot. What about you, Damiani? You got anything?
All right. In Final Fantasy 14,
yes,
when you're queued up in a party for any kind of content, they really need to add the damn option for just one person to say yes, we're ready to go, and you go in. Because how it works now, every single person has to click yes when you're ready to go into the content. And if one person doesn't say it, you get a penalty. You get a 1 point towards a penalty. If you get 3, you get locked out for 30 minutes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
For all content?
Yeah, for any content that requires you to queue into it through the duty finder system. The duty finder system. Yeah. So
if someone
else can screw you over.
I did not know this.
So
what?
But someone has to get up and go to the bathroom, or whatever. You've been waiting 20 minutes, and then the queue pops, and you're just there, and they know there just needs to be an option. I understand there's some people that want it, but there should be an option you can check that says if you when the party forms, any one person clicks yes, we're just going in, and it's cool. And so you don't if someone's not there, it's fine, not the end of the world. Just solve so many problems.
Yeah.
So many headaches and frustrations would be gone if they just allowed that.
Have you been locked out of something because someone else didn't queue up?
No, so we were queuing for something this weekend, and literally the person queued in and said, "Be right back." And the moment they said "Be right back" and got up, it popped, and they didn't come back in time. They got the 30-minute penalty because they already had they already had two others they had backed out of. So. Yeah, they had to they couldn't go in with us. We had to wait. All right, we'll go do something, and then we'll wait 30 minutes.
Well, what's the time gap you have between this? So if you queued for something,
45 seconds.
No. Oh. So the gap, if you how long is the time do you have to get 3 strikes essentially?
Oh, 24-hour period.
Okay. So
I think it's a 24-hour period. Okay. From your first one till
How are you missing 3 queues in 24 hours? How are you doing that?
So it's not just queue. So if it pops, a queue pops and you change your mind and you say back out, that counts too. Yes.
Oh.
So you can't back out. I mean, you're allowed to, but you only get 2 free chances, and then your third one you get penalties.
Huh.
And if you leave content, when you're in content, if you leave before it's finished, you just get a penalty. You get 30-minute penalty period.
Okay.
But that I think that means if you back out again, you also that just gives you 3 strikes right away. And then I think any future ones you do within 24 hours, you're gonna get 30-minute penalty. I think. But yeah, I understand why they do it. I understand there's situations that could possibly be abused. But as long as everyone when you're joining the party, it gives you a message you by joining this party. Just a quick message it's anyone clicking yes will allow will queue you into the instance. And it's so you get a heads up. That's fair. You're in there, and then. Oh, I need to go get I gotta go finish cooking something. Go ahead and queue us in, and I don't need to be there to hit the yes button. Just lets people get up. You don't have to be sitting at your computer, especially for some stuff that might take a while, and you don't know when it's gonna the instance will pop. It's like waiting in a long line. Hey, I'll stand here now for a while. You guys go get some food. Come back, relieve me. It's just courtesy system. That's all. Just be nice.
Okay.
Oh, I thought of a situation where my thing applies to other people. The PlayStation Plus games.
Right.
When you get those, you get the receipt for your $0 game.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And every time I'll psych myself out because I'll redeem a code or I'll get one of those PlayStation Plus games, and then I look over and oh, I got an email. Oh, yeah, it's just the receipt.
Damn. Mine's kind of weird, I guess. I was just thinking about this. So we have gotten Castlevania collections. They have come out. We have gotten the original ones. We got the Game Boy Advance ones. It's taken too damn long, though, for the rest of them. I'm sick of waiting.
N64, PS2?
N64, PS2. The DS games might be a little more tricky, but figure that out. It's keep them coming. I hope it does not stop. We haven't
DS
heard
games
anything.
Could be tricky.
We have not heard anything for a while. We got the Metal Gear collection, which is coming. It's great, part 1 or whatever. Hopefully that's good. But you gotta finish the rest of Castlevania, you got a lot of games still to go. So hopefully those get the treatment, I guess. Light's sorted out, but please get on that. Don't forget about that, please.
Yeah, don't forget it.
All right, this one is from Next Gen Hef. Now, remember, if you want to send in a question or a comment, whatever topic, anything like that, head on over to patreon.com/easyallies, $5 and up. Send in questions to this show and the Easy Allies podcast, some other stuff. So please head on over there, check it out. This is from Next Gen Hef. So this was a sequel to a Sorted Out they submitted last year. So we got part 2, I guess, now.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. Last year's Madden had a lot of technical issues. In late December, the servers went down for an extended period of time.
Ooh.
When they came back up, many people's franchise mode saves were corrupted.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
EA eventually admitted around 60% were not recoverable. As an apology, they sent an email to all the affected users offering free access to the Madden 24 beta and 50% off the price of Madden 24.
Wow.
Fast forward to June. It's time to start pre-ordering Madden 24. The only way to access the 50% off discount is to load up either Madden 23 or the 24 beta and buy it through the main menu. However,
Whoa.
Doing that only allows you to pre-order the deluxe edition, $100, rather than the standard $70. The deal also expires on the game's release day, so you can't wait for reviews to see if the game is as broken as last year.
Oh my God.
The original 50% discount offer made no mention of it, only applying to pre-orders or to the deluxe edition. EA got some slightly positive PR when they announced the 50% off deal, then changed the terms to favor themselves. EA has yet to communicate any of this officially. I had to contact several different customer support agents before one could finally confirm the discount only applies to pre-orders for the deluxe edition. There are still dozens of people posting on the EA help message board asking about this, never receiving an answer.
Wow.
I don't think Sorted Out is a strong enough combination for EA. Get your shit together, EA. Man, that is super funny. That's getting that 50%. Like, yeah, we totally deleted all your stuff. Whoops, here's 50% off the next game, but you can only do it for the deluxe edition and only up until the game comes out. You can't wait to see if the game's good or not. You just gotta... Man, that's rough.
Damn.
Sports games are so fascinating. I feel like sports games are insane with microtransactions, and like everyone just kind of accepts it, and it is what it is. Like whatever, all those like special leagues that people buy stuff for. It's like you do that every year. It's insane, man. But people just kind of like yeah. But they got the athlete I like on the cover.
Fans, yeah, they want to support their franchises. Man.
I mean, it's working clearly.
Somebody's doing it.
People don't care, yeah. So it's working for them, but it's just insane to me.
Wow.
All right. This is from Sean Callaghan. This was their second Sorted Out submission. Hold on, let me just delete something right here. Okay. They said this one is targeted mostly at gamers, okay? So listen up, fellow gamers.
Okay.
More specifically, those who use Metacritic. Try to be objective with your scores.
Oh, right.
In 90% of scores, it's either a 10 or a 0. So they're talking about user scores.
Right.
There seems to be no middle ground. Scrolling through recent Baldur's Gate user reviews, everything is a 10, even if they have nitpicks, or else it's a 0 if there's something they disagree with. This leads to completely useless, unreliable user scores that are completely skewed one way or another. Most people seem to feel we need to be in the camp. Most people seem to feel the need to be in one camp or the other. It's okay to give a game a 5, 6, 7, or 8. We give reviewers of gaming outlets abuse for always giving a 10 or too high a score or panning a game. Yet, here we are doing exactly the same thing with criticism. Same thing when we criticize them for it. Sorted Out people. So yeah, I have seen some user scores in the past, definitely, where I look at them and it's like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2. They are right, there is no middle ground often a lot in this, but I don't know, it's just like, when you give people the option just give scores with something, like they're just gonna do what they want.
Yeah, I mean,
so
plus I feel like modern corporate culture survey addiction has like skewed this as well because it's like if you want to give somebody like an Uber driver or a barista or whatever like a fair score, like if you're like, oh yeah, that was fine, like there's nothing amazing about it, it's fine, like. But if you give them like a 3 or a 4, like that's bad for them. Mm-hmm. Even though they didn't do anything wrong, they just weren't like, I don't know, they didn't
Yeah.
they weren't the highlight of your day or anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's like, no, it's like unless somebody did something specifically wrong, you're expected to give 5 stars, and it's just like, and then it kind of trickles down
weird,
to everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super annoying. I hate that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
because it feels like you can't give an honest answer.
Yeah, you
because
can't
it's
give an
like,
honest answer.
Because you're gonna like screw up this person's job or whatever.
Yeah.
Because their overall rating's going low, even though they're doing a great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're left with a sea of people that are 5 stars or like lower.
Right.
And people see 3 stars or 3.5. And they're
No,
like,
I've seen
"Ew."
people that like, you know, like they'll start avoiding somebody that's like 4.5
Yeah,
or
it's
something,
like,
and it's
it's
like,
insane,
what?
bud.
Yeah.
It's insane. Ratings, dude. Ratings on humans is so nuts.
Yeah.
Holy jeez, dude.
And it's like, and some of that stuff is so weirdly subjective too. Like, say, like, you get like an Uber driver who's like a really good conversationalist, right? One day of the week, that might be great.
Yeah.
Another day of the week, I do not want to hear.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it's-
is that a strength? Like, should they be doing that all the time? I can't tell. Like, do you like, you know, you have to read the room a little
But
bit?
it's
Yeah.
like, you know, some people, like, just customer service, like, some of the people are just insane that are giving the reviews. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like, what they are giving, they are the problem with a lot of stuff.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that was kind of what we're saying.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
like- it's insane. I hate it.
yeah,
I hate it, dude.
yeah.
Everything's gonna have ratings for everything now, like humans, everything.
Well, and part
Dogs.
of it too is just like the whole, you know, the review bombing mentality, right? Of, like,
Yes.
you're not giving a score because it has anything to do with what you think the quality of this product is. You just want the overall score to go up or down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Insane. People are giving Baldur's Gate 3 a 0?
Right.
What?
Right.
How's that even possible? The only thing I would give a 0, I think, is if I put it in my thing and it blew up my console or something.
Right.
Or just, like, doesn't even turn on or start, launch, or
Yeah,
anything.
Right.
It's like, what?
But then it's like you wouldn't even necessarily give it a 0 because it's like, this is just a defect, right? Like,
yeah. Is that,
there's no way that
if
like
that was the
every
intent of
copy
the
of a
game,
game
the,
just simply
the design
doesn't
of the
work.
game is not
Yeah.
to launch or something. Yeah, it's crazy. Whatever. Number scales, people got different interpretations of all of them. It's crazy. All right. Exact opposite. Keep it up, baby. What are we pleased with in the gaming industry? Who's doing a good job? Who's doing good? Who's making you pumped? Think about it for a second. Just think about it. Take your time. Scratch your beard.
I mean, this just kind of flows a little bit into what I'm talking about anyways, but it's like, hey, got some short games. Like me saying,
Yeah,
short games.
sure, yeah. Something wrong with
You're
that.
full of gigantic breaks of high
Yeah.
quality 100-hour game after 100-hour game.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to be able to like, yeah, I'm just gonna knock out a couple
Yeah.
of games before Frame Trap. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's great when there's short games. I love long games too, do not get me wrong, but it's just nice to have the options out there.
Yeah. Well, and
Definitely.
I think too, like this year in particular, it's been nice to like sort of like sandwich those things in between. It's like I'm still playing my long game, but you know, tonight, you know, take a little break, do something different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I don't have to worry about like investing and remembering all of this lore and everything for weeks at a time or whatever. It's like, nope, I've got my big thing over here, and there's a couple of quick ones.
Since we didn't get to cover it, keep it up to Evo and the game company's involvement in Evo for making this past Evo such a success.
Yeah.
And obviously, like the tournament organizers, putting so much work into that, but having those companies like officially be involved, being so supportive of it, I think helps it get to help to get to the level to where it is now. And big comeback, first big in-person Evo, after being hit by the pandemic and having to try and adapt to that, and just seeing like Street Fighter 6, keep it up, Capcom.
Really
like you did a
exciting
really good
top
job with
6.
that. Seeing a person using modern controls in top 6, it's legit. I mean, keep it up to everyone else. Like Arc System works, with Guilty Gear Strive. And maybe if they made another Versus game, but thank you for allowing Marvel vs. Capcom to come back for a tournament. That was, kind of nice. I mean, obviously, Bandai Namco with Tekken.
Was Soul Calibur there also?
No, Soul Calibur wasn't officially, it might have been a side tournament or something. I'm not sure. But, NetherRealm Studios for, Mortal Kombat being there. Even Riot showing up and having Project L playable there.
So that's its name still, right? Is that going to be the official name? Or
I have no idea.
They've been calling that game that for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. And anyone else I'm forgetting company-wise,
SNK.
Yeah.
Showing off some stuff. They showed off Fatal Fury.
Yes. And I forget I'm forgetting one tournament already. King of Fighters. Yeah. King of Fighters. That was it. Yeah, their tournament. So, yeah. I mean, good stuff. And hopefully, next year's is just as big or bigger.
Yeah.
And you're lost, Nintendo, for pulling Smash out of there.
Yeah. Do you think? So we know Sony owns Evo. Do you think a lot of its success has been, I guess this recent one has just been being able to have the financial security of Sony backing it?
I mean, I'm sure that's helped immensely. I mean, Capcom throwing more money.
I knew Evo was big before, no question about that.
Yeah,
but still.
I'm sure it helps a lot. Just the stability of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy.
They don't need to go hog wild, but they don't have to be, stitching things together or anything.
Yeah.
They had a person who was delivering an official proclamation from the governor of Nevada.
Yeah, they gave him the keys to the city.
It was the mayor was there too. He was
insane,
here's the keys for the city. It's good for one night.
One night, dude. Stay out of jail.
Yeah, stay out of jail for one night.
Okay.
Yeah, they declared it official Evo Day, but which is funny because they announced Evo's coming back just moving to July next year.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, so it won't even be during Evo Day. That is too funny.
Yeah, but keep it up, man. Evo is hype.
Nintendo's got to get Smash back in there somehow. Come on, Nintendo.
They got that Panda deal, so.
Oh, yeah.
The tournament, so.
I forgot about that.
That's where Smash is. I mean.
Yeah, but didn't they have a whole big scandal about that, all that Panda stuff?
It's so much stuff that
I can't remember it all.
I can't recall it. It's too
It's got a stink on it, though, from what I recall. I could be totally wrong, but that's the impression I have on it. Mine's very general. It's just with Sea of Stars coming up, I'm just keep it up old school RPGs like that, dude. It's just, I love those kind of games, and it's great to see them still coming out every once in a while. I appreciate that. Just like beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
Keeping it alive.
Yeah, really curious how that all comes together.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be great. I haven't played the demo or anything like that. I'm going in.
Yeah, I've played the first demo, but there's a new one out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is from Son of Sparta. Keep it up. Video game companies, keep up releasing old games on modern platforms. At the moment, I'm playing Final Fantasy IX for the first time on PS5, and I'm absolutely loving it, or loving my time with it. I started the series with 13.2, and I've only played OG 7 from the old FF remasters, so I have a lot of FF goodness to catch up with, and thankfully, almost all the mainline ones are available on modern platforms. So keep it up, Square and other publishers. Keep giving me access to older games on modern platforms. Yes, I absolutely do love that. Hopefully that will continue as we go on. Yeah, especially when you let me buy them. I really like that.
That Mana collection we went through, that was great.
Yeah. That was cool because that was the first time we ever got to play that game. So it was awesome. It was a cool game too, yeah.
Yeah.
So for PlayStation, only 13 and 11 aren't available, correct? I'm thinking off the top of my head. To play.
Yeah, 13 didn't come forward, 11 didn't come forward.
I don't ever expect 11, but it'd be great if 13 came out on that. Because you can play it on Xbox, which is nice, and PC, obviously. But if you can play pretty much every Final Fantasy,
you mean on PS5, you mean? Or
4 or 5.
Well, 16's not playable
on
PS4.
Sorry. Okay, then, yeah, you're right. Totally forgot about it. Yeah. So hopefully, get the 13 games on there eventually. Hopefully, I got some problems with those games, but I would like to have them on there. All right, time for some shout-outs. We give shout-outs every episode to some of our most generous patron supporters on the Platinum Producer tier. We thank you, as always. This episode, we got Jabbawabs, Elthanas, and Greg TheDarkKnight Kettering. Shout out. Thank you very much for supporting us. Okay, Bloodworth, Stray Gods.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been hearing about, I've heard about this game for a while. Musical game.
Yeah.
A lot of talent in this game. You've played it. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a game that's simultaneously like not in my wheelhouse and in my wheelhouse and different aspects of it, because it's like generally, I've not really been a big musical guy. I tend to like find musicals in general kind of cheesy. It's just my impression of them. And so it's hard for me to like look at something and it's like, okay, is this cheesy or do I just not like musicals? I can't tell.
Right. That's fair.
And then same thing. I'm like usually not into like Greek god stuff that much. There's been a lot more of it over the past few years, so I've warmed up to it more over time.
God of War. Did you like the old God of War games?
No, I didn't care for the old God of War games at
all.
Right. I didn't get into it until the 2018 game.
Oh, okay.
But like Hades pulled me in a little bit more, and there's other games, like that have been doing that type of thing. So
Titan Quest.
Never played that. No.
Sequel's coming out.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Saw that.
I think Hubris was in that.
But at the same time, I always like really love interactive stories. I really love interactive music. And like the way I even found out about this game was a couple of months ago. They invited me to this concert that they were doing in Austin when we were there, and the cast was there playing the songs and even like playing like different versions of the same song based on different choices you could make. And so I was like, yeah, I was kind of intrigued to check this out. And in a weird way, like even like halfway through the game, I could not figure out whether I like it or not.
That's funny.
But the premise of it, if you're not familiar with this game at all, which I don't blame you, because it's a small little indie game that Humble Games is publishing.
Intense time. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of buzz going on right now.
But it is a role-playing musical, perfect description, perfect subtitle for it, because it is essentially a narrative adventure. The visuals are comic book style. There's not even really a lot of animation. It's just like the characters will move from here or there, or like a facial expression will change at a moment, but it's not like there's lip sync attempted or anything like that. And then the idea is that the Greek gods were all real, and they've just been in hiding for a long time. And this girl that you play as, Grace, she has an encounter where like after an audition after she's been like auditioning for band members or whatever, she's just wrapping up and closing up the place, and she's singing to herself, and Calliope, the last muse, comes in and starts singing with her, and she kind of gets introduced to her, and then like...
Sorry, that's just a funny situation to me.
Yeah.
Just sing to yourself and someone just starts coming in out of nowhere, some strangers
and she's
singing
like, "Are
with
you here for the audition?" Like,
Yeah.
what's interesting is like a lot of the things that you feel are kind of awkward, like they do address. They do like, is this kind of weird that we're singing right now? Like stuff like that. But then the next night, all of a sudden, Calliope like shows up at Grace's apartment, and she's just like stabbed in the gut, and she's dying, and her eidolon, like her spirit essentially, passes from her into Grace, and so Grace essentially becomes the next muse.
Whoa.
But immediately the other gods pop up and like take you to like their like high-rise apartment. And
is it Mount Olympus, but it's just an apartment?
Yeah. And the chorus, who is like made up of like four of the Greek gods, they've determined that you have to die because you're the prime suspect or whatever.
Yeah,
and so you kind of talk them out of it or whatever, and your whole goal now is you have like a week to investigate and prove your innocence.
Okay.
So it's this interesting balance of, okay, you have these musical sections, but there's actually a lot of just regular dialogue in between, and talking with characters and getting to know characters and getting to know like the lore behind all of this crazy concept of them being around and like what they've been doing and all of that stuff, and really getting into like a lot of these kind of like personal side of things too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, if you don't die for thousands of years, all this screwed up stuff happens to you, and you have to. It builds up, and like the trauma builds up, and like what do you do with that as a person? And then also the sort of like this mystery of like, okay, do I trust this person? How do I win this person over? And like all of those kind of like the RPG negotiator skills play into this.
Yeah, so is it just like you selected a choice, or is there some like, let's say like let's compare it to like Baldur's Gate, right now.
Yeah,
you got like
yeah.
you got
So
bonuses for stuff.
You've got these dialogue choices to where like you have things where like you can like it clearly like you can ask a bunch more questions and get more information, or you can like pick this choice to sort of move on. And then when you start, you can also sort of like pick an alignment. And so there's green, red, blue alignments, and so green is you're kind of the charisma, the charmer. You're trying to get along with everybody. You're trying to like kind of like bring people together, kind of thing. Red is like the aggressive, like we're gonna get this done. I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna like have my way about things or whatever. And then blue is the kind of like witty, clever thinker, kind of like it's like, oh, if you think it through and you sort of win people through logic, right? And so based on which of those three alignments you pick in the beginning and kind of like your character personality that you're going with, then there will be times in like a dialogue conversation that that there will be a choice that is only available if you have that alignment. So there might be a blue choice and a green choice, or there might just be a blue choice. But if, like, say there's a green choice and you're not green, then you can't pick that. The songs, though, are different. And the songs are really cool the way that they're constructed because they are part of this whole dialogue system as well. Only it's all happening in song. And because it's all happening in song, these choices are on a timer. So it's like a choice pops up, you've got a bar ticking down, and you've got to like read those three choices and pick what the next line of the song is going to be. And the reason this all happens is because of her power. Because she's the muse, basically she pulls people into these songs and these kind of like imaginary environments essentially as a way of drawing things out of them and persuading them, and they kind of go into is like you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do, but you sort of draw out things that maybe they're pushing down or repressing or not thinking about types of things. So it's like a persuasive thing, but not like you're overriding their will or something. And what's really interesting about this is when you're making these choices also align to those colors, but you're not locked out of them. Okay. And what I have found, which I'm sure you can do like a full green or full blue or full red playthrough, but what works more effectively is you really have this very nuanced back and forth with another character, to where like you're reading how they're responding to you, and it's like, and you see it's like, okay, right now I'm gonna try to be their friend, I'm gonna try to be on their side, but no, right now I need to go red. I need to push you over the edge on this thing. Or like Persephone is a really good example of a character of she's very hard. She's been through a lot. She literally was kidnapped by Hades and came out of all of that stuff. And so if you try to be like her friend, she doesn't respect that. You've got to push. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to like make your stand. But then I kind of like pulled it back a little bit and like, okay, because we were in like her club. She's got a club that she's running or whatever. And I pulled it into the blue, and I essentially pulled the crowd onto my side. And so like the crowd that should be rooting for her is now rooting for me. Okay. And I kind of like win the battle that way. And so and what I find really fascinating, and when I was at the concert, like Austin explained a lot of the nuances with the music and stuff, because the game, both musically and narratively, it remembers a lot of these choices that you make through the course of a song, and even across multiple songs sometimes. And so it's not just like, oh, each section of the song is like, these are the... It's like it actually kind of is pulling in things that you sang or said earlier into a later part. So it's like, I don't know how many permutations. Like, he talked like there's thousands of different ways that this could go. And so it's really interesting on that level. The songs themselves, I feel, can kind of get hit or miss in terms of like, there are just times where the flow just doesn't feel like it's quite there. And I don't know necessarily if that's just like trying to like shove all this dialogue in there, or if like not all of these, some of these actors clearly aren't necessarily singers all the time, and I've even seen like some of them joking online about it or whatever. It's like, but then there are others that I like really, really dig. Like the main theme song is really great. The song with Persephone is really great. But that's Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who is also like one of the vocalists for like Silent Hill 2. And then this is like all-star cast too, so like Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson from Last of Us, like just all it's like a big old reunion. Rahul Kohli's in there.
Yeah.
I sent you that photo of the Minotaur because I'm like, this guy looks like Ben Starr, and then I look up, oh, it's Rahul Kohli. Okay. Yeah. I thought for sure
that would be funny if he was in it.
But they play a lot around with expectations, and so it does such a good job with these characters and with the way that the narrative flows, because even though I can see constantly like how I could have not won this person over or not won that person over, or I could have chosen a completely different direction, like I know that those options are there, but it's still, again, like any good RPG, like it feels like my story.
Right.
It feels like a cohesive thing. It doesn't feel like just a bunch of weird options I blended together.
So my question with that is, since this game is all about choices and all that kind of stuff, is there like one ending that you will get to no matter what?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't. Like I even had like a romance option that like a achievement popped up for getting that romance by the end of the game. And so like I think there's at least 2 other people that you could have romanced, and like I don't really know how that would have played into how that last scene worked at all, because the person that like I was with was very much on my side, and there's even a part like in the final trial where like you kind of have like your rogues gallery of people that you've interacted with before, and like this person's gonna back me up because I did this for them, and this person's gonna back me up because I won them over or whatever. Okay. But it's like, it's clear that some of those people might not even make it to the end of the game.
Sure.
So,
I guess with some of these choices too, were a lot of them kind of like you really pausing to think about what to choose, or you kind of just like.
But that's the thing, you have to do it in the moment.
I know that, songs, but I'm like, you have a certain amount of time to choose though, right? So, but like you're making choices.
10, 15 seconds?
You're making choices, but I'm thinking like, these choices you're making, are you definitely doubting yourself with what you pick often, or are you always like very confident in being like, yes, this one, obviously, yes, this one.
One of the ones, one that I really liked was when you go with Persephone there's a part where you go to Hades, and that's a really great sequence and a cool song. And it was like, there are parts where like, you're choosing to side with this person over that person, or try to tell them both to shut up. And I kind of don't. I was like trying to figure out. I was like, I kind of don't want to pick a side, but like, am I going to screw this up by not picking a side? And so it's like, that's where I was like mostly doubting myself, is when they really like want you to like align yourself with a character and you don't know.
So I guess you said your biggest gripe with the game was just like the songs itself, kind of sometimes.
Sometimes there are parts where like, it sort of almost feels like sing talking, or like the words don't necessarily really fit into the music in a good flow kind of way, or just seems a little bit off in like a way that I can't entirely express. There also be times because those different alignments sound so differently. Sometimes when you jump between them, it's like, oh, I really like the way the song sounded, but now I kind of went to something completely different, and now we've gone from like a rock vibe to like a jazzy vibe. It's like, oh, I want to hear the rest of it. And I'm glad they put out the soundtracks for all of these different options too, so you can just listen through them as like a single cohesive song. And then there's just it is an indie game,
right,
with a very small team, and so there are some weird little things that happen here and there. So like there is one location when that place where you're outside of this place and you're talking to the Minotaur, and for whatever reason, anytime we were in that location, the game just bogged down.
Oh.
Like crazy. And it's really strange because I'm just looking at 2D art. But like when the like fade ins and fade outs would happen, like it was really stuttery. It was really slow to respond to like where I was moving the controller. And this never happened during a song. It was only during like just regular dialogue stuff. And even like an achievement popped up, and the achievement was like slow motion. I'm like, what is happening right now?
It's like memory leak.
Yeah, that's that kind of thing. It makes me think maybe it is a kind of memory leak sort of thing. There are also times where I would see like character models sort of like start to like become transparent for a bit for no particular reason.
Whoa.
Okay. And maybe the like most obvious weird thing that happened, and I can understand with a game like this that's got like 100 different branches of scenes that stitch together in various ways. But I had a character had come with me to this location, and then afterwards I had a conversation with them outside in the alley. And the next scene was almost the exact same conversation, but in their home, their little home place. So it was like two versions of the same scene, but for some reason, I got both versions back to back. So it's like, and it's interesting because it's like, you know, all of these different scenes exist, and I've just never seen like that error pop up. It was like, oh, actually, you played both versions of that scene. So. But overall, like by the time I got to the end of it, it's like, okay, you know what? I think I really did like what I got here.
Okay.
But perhaps not so much because it's a musical, but because I just kind of like this sort of narrative design, and I think they did a really, really good job with that aspect of it and with the mystery of it all and getting to know these characters.
Will Huber like this game?
I think he might.
Okay.
I think he might. I will say the other thing that I think may be one of the hindrances to this and trying to pull off this musical thing, and it hit me like sort of towards the end of the game, and because one of the dilemmas I was having before was it's like, okay, I'd been to the concert and I really liked the concert, and then when I would watch the trailers, I was like, I'm not into this. It's a trailer. I'm like, why is there this disconnect? Even some of the same songs, and I think what hit me is, because you're dealing with these static comic book images, you're just losing so much of that performance, the body language, the facial expression. You know, like musicals, people use their hands a lot. And I think that is sort of part of it.
Got it.
But overall, I think it's really well done, and there's a lot that had to make it happen, especially for an indie dev.
Yeah. Garrett Holfish wrote in, as a fan of musicals, I was disappointed by the music I've heard in the trailers and previews for Stray Gods. Do you feel the music gets better, or if that the music didn't click with me, should I just accept this isn't my kind of musical?
I think I sort of answered that, but I would say that don't just base it off of what's in the trailers. I think there are definitely better hooks and songs that are in there. And yeah, there are some of those little rough patches in there, but I think overall, I think it's enjoyable. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Damiani.
Yo.
You've been playing The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. So
yes,
I played a little bit of Ages recently. I did like 2 or 3 temples or dungeons like that.
Okay.
So talk to me about it.
Yeah. Nintendo dropped these recently on Game Boy service for Nintendo Switch Online. Trying to remember the last time I played either of these. It's been a while. Like, I'm going to say like it might have been close to like 10 years since I've touched these games. But I haven't jumped into Ages yet. I've only jumped into Seasons. For some reason, I always picked Seasons first to play through them.
Yeah, that's in my head too,
People
for whatever reason.
were saying to me that Seasons is more like combat kind of focused, while or Ages is more puzzle kind of focused, so maybe it's easier to hop in that.
I know Ages is definitely the harder of the two in terms of puzzles. Yeah, you can get stuck really easy in Ages.
I need to replay Ages before I can like definitively say that. I do remember at one point I thought that one of them was like, there was an argument to me that one was technically first before the other one. has something to do with the pirates, the skeleton pirates, and their ship sailing. Like they make a reference to it in Seasons. They talk about that dialogue, so it makes me. At one point, I used to believe that Ages had to actually come first, and then Seasons was technically after. But I mean, they're meant to be played either way.
Yeah.
And they do have that like password system where you can unlock secrets, as they call them, which is like to connect the games together, ultimately leading to a bonus kind of like ending section that you can do if you do both of them linked together. But Seasons, game where very much in the style of, it's like Link's Awakening but evolved. It visually is like Link's Awakening with a little bit more, like visual flair going on. They do something more complex stuff visually. It's also technically like 4 maps in one because of the seasons. It changes. Every single screen will change depending on what season it is, and obviously you have the 4 seasons. For example, like in spring, things will be like there'll be more flowers. There'll be like, summer is like a good one because like not only will be like things will be alive with like flowers, but like vines will grow up walls so now you can climb them. Whereas in winter, some trees will like, kind of like shrink up and shrivel and die and might create a path now that previously wasn't there. Obviously, like lakes will be partially iced over. There'll be like snow patches. You have to use the shovel to dig up. Whereas fall will cover some holes with leaves. Like they had to take a lot into account. So it's deceptively more complex than Link's Awakening because you might not fully appreciate it first. So that's something I'm definitely picking up even more now that I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more going under the hood here than I previously gave it credit for in terms of that for map design.
I think Majora's Mask is a good comparison to where it's like, oh yeah, this game like uses a lot of assets and stuff from the previous game, but the systems are entirely different.
Yeah, definitely. Even like in terms of like menu interface, things are more complicated. You have multiple menu screens that you can cycle through. Like you got the ring system in this game. I forgot about that. Like you praise the rings, and you can equip one initially, and you can equip up to. You can have 3 slotted. You can only equip one at a time, but like you can like it makes it easier. Little cumbersome by today's standards. Like the amount of like navigation and like hoops you have to jump through to do stuff.
Link's Awakening was like too.
Yeah, this is amplified more than that. This is worse than OG Link's Awakening. So if they were ever to do a port or enhanced remaster of this, or whatever you want to call, that's something they could take into consideration. To streamlining a lot of that would be nice. But yeah, it's to talk about the actual game itself, it is definitely one of the harder Zeldas. I was like, oh, like combat-wise, like, yeah, the bosses, all of like the mini bosses, like they don't always do like the item you got in the dungeon is what you use against the boss. I was like, oh yeah, like you kind of have to like cycle through stuff, and it doesn't always seem apparent contextually what you should do. And some of them just like their attack patterns are just very aggressive. So it's like, dude, like just even avoiding damage is like there's this like spinning tiger one enemy boss thing that you have to hit its tail, and then it like starts spinning in a circle. Sometimes it'll just like charge at you. Sometimes it'll do like these like curved attacks that like keep like targeting you, and they're like really annoying to dodge. They also play in expectations because remember these games were originally supposed to be kind of like a redos of the original NES Zelda games, and you can see in both games, but in Seasons you do see like a bit of the DNA of Zelda 1 in there. The Zelda 1 bosses make it in there. For example, there is Dodongo, and it's like, oh, I throw bombs into his mouth, and like I threw 3 into his mouth. I'm like, is he taking damage? And then like there's a giant spike pattern in the middle of the floor. I'm like, oh yeah, I like walked up to him, used the power gloves. You have to hurl him on. I'm like, oh my, like so they play against your expectations. Like, when did I ever have to do that? Like Gleeok, the two-headed form. It's like, oh, I just kill a head and then like kill the other head. And it's like that didn't work. The heads keep respawning. I'm like, oh, you have to kill them simultaneously. Oh, and then he has like like an undead version that like just shows up. I'm like, oh, okay. And like they do a lot of damage. Like you can't just be haphazard with a lot of this stuff. So they like it's definitely not a cakewalk. It's easier to die in this one, and I think it doesn't quite follow the same logic pattern that I think a lot of previous Zelda games did, and that's apparent because this is flagship. This was like their first effort at making Zelda games, so it is a different style of Zelda. While it's like familiar in some ways, it's a little bit different.
Right. Well, they had to make 2 Zeldas.
Games, for sure. Yeah. That's a thing. But I mean, it's just an approach to. I think it's both dungeon design and boss design. It's a little bit of a departure. Mm-hmm. I think you'd probably say like up to that point, maybe people thought like Zelda games were like on the easier side. Sure. But like Seasons, at least, I need to replay Ages, but I'm assuming it has similarities. Yeah, it's definitely easier to like just get caught. Like you can't be as careless as you could before. Dungeon wise, I don't really like these dungeons. I'll say that. I felt like the dungeons in Link's Awakening, because it's the most analogous to this. Like A Link to the Past dungeons are a slightly different style than this. They're not as complex as some of the stuff they do in Link's Awakening. And I get people already complaining about like newcomers who came to Link's Awakening 2019. Like, how do you solve some of these puzzles? Or like, there are enough contextual clues. I think this one goes even further in that direction where it's like, what? They included a bunch of those owls that you can like get clues from. And like in Link's Awakening, I mean, I played it to death, but like so that's probably a factor of why I didn't need to really rely on them. But I was constantly using them in this. So I'm like, oh yeah, give me I need a hint. Like, what's going on here? And it's not just like the dungeons. Like some dungeons, it's like there'll be something like it's like easy to miss because there's a lot of backtracking. These dungeons have so much backtracking. It's actually quite annoying. Like I just finished the Sword and Shield dungeon, which is the 8th dungeon. That design, I mean, they want to make it look like a Sword and Shield, but like that one is like just horrible design. Like I was like, this one stinks. And not just that, but like when you get the 7th essence, it's just like, yo, cool, we're not giving you any clues. Somewhere in the world is a dungeon and like go find it out on your own. I'm like, okay, I mean, sure. Like how many spots have I not explored yet? And I was like, oh, it's underground it's in Subrosia. I was like, oh, I forgot to explain this. There's an overworld in this game with 4 seasons you can change. You jump onto these tree stumps. When you get the Rod of Seasons, you can power it up with the ability to change seasons, but only one at a time. So initially you start with just one, and as you press through the game and you go back to the Temple of Seasons, you unlock new paths to get the remaining 3 essences. So that's how you work on the overworld. Then there are these portals to an underworld called Subrosia, and there's stuff you can do down there. But like it's different, like rupees don't work down there. You need like ore chunks to buy stuff. It's just like a nice little like extra thing. Cool, like nice to explore, not that big. But yeah, that's where the 8th dungeon was, and I'm like, oh, there's a portal over there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I need to be here because these are the last 3 grayed out screens, but I can't get there. And then it was like, oh, there was a volcano that I went to underground with a dude throwing items into it, and I was like, oh, he's trying to make it I was like, what do I do here? And like I literally searched all over, like I went to every square on the overworld map, and I'm like, what do you do here? And I'm like, all right, well, I guess like he's tossing stuff in. I guess I'll start tossing stuff in. It's like eventually you throw a bomb in, it causes the volcano to erupt. I'm like, that was a little. I was like, that one, like that was a bit of a stretch. I get it, but like, nah. And you know what? I see some of that DNA carry over into some of their future Fujibayashi games with their puzzles. I'm like, I feel like the in-house Nintendo ones have like a nicer logic to their puzzles that's like easier to discern. But yeah, it has a lot of charm to it. I mean, the overworld is definitely more varied than Link's Awakening, so I definitely appreciate that. You have like that, like you have like a water village at one part, and like you have the 3 animal friends. You got like Ricky the kangaroo, who's like a boxer. You gotta like do like a boxing match with like Blano or whatever, knock him out to get the gloves. Then Ricky can hop around. You get like the Dimitri, who's like a Dodongo thing, who can like swim up like waterfalls and like wreck enemies. And then you got like Moosh, this flying bear. Hover over gaps and
forgot about that.
And like it's random. I don't know how you determine it, but like you can get one of those 3 animal friends to be like your permanent animal friend. That you get a flute to summon them, or like a horn, I guess, to summon them. And I got Moosh, and I was like, oh, sick. I'm pretty sure it's random. I need to maybe double check that, but I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool that like you have like a random animal friend you call and like you get them back at a few points. There's definitely like more things to follow. Like I still haven't figured out how to start the trading quest. I was like, oh yeah, there's a trading quest in here. Like that's how you get the new sword. But there's other side quests you can do. Like in Subrosia, you can find these two, a red and a blue ore, form hard ore. And you can reforge your shield to get the level 2 shield. So they got like do upgrading of items in this, which is pretty cool. So like the boomerang, level 1, normal. Level 2, you can control it. It can like spin around and like curve around stuff. The Rock's Feather, it's back. You can jump. Evolves into the Rock's Cape, so you can like glide further and like six. Yeah, so it's like
That's
sick stuff like
I think
that.
the feathers in Ages too.
Yeah, the magnetic glove is pretty sick. Like how you can like repel stuff.
That's cool.
Or you can like pull yourself over gaps, repel yourself over gaps. Some enemies got like metal shielding in front of them. You could pull it off. There's like an orb, a metal ball you sometimes move around for puzzles or use it to kill certain enemies. So there is a lot of like clever stuff in there, and it is definitely. It gives you a decent amount to explore as you unlock new abilities. I do appreciate that. It feels a little less gated than Link's Awakening, but it still definitely has its intended order. And you do need to follow some stuff like that. But because they have like the Subrosia part mixed in, it feels like you have a little bit more freedom in terms of exploration.
Nice.
You said the dungeons weren't really doing it for you around this. Do you think it's probably just because they made 2 games at once? Do you think that suffered all around?
Maybe. It could definitely be that.
Because there's, probably 8 for each, I assume, or something like that?
Yeah, I imagine it has something to do with that they were kind of... I do remember, my memory serves me right, I think I liked Ages' dungeons better.
Okay.
So when I jump into Ages next, I'll like be able to remember that.
Yeah, I thought they were okay when I did them recently. They're not like standouts, but yeah, they're okay. I only did a couple, though, so...
Yeah, and I mean, they have a lot of things. Like they have the seed system, like the gacha trees that you get like the rings, or you can get potions or hearts from. They have like some mini games, like the Subrosian dancing mini game, kind of like a little rhythm thing, which is kind of nice.
That's right.
They're clearly doing I just realized, that's the Kirby dance animations they're doing. I was like, that's where that came from.
The animal friends remind me of Kirby's Dream Land 2, because you get animal companions in that game too.
Okay, yeah, I didn't pick up on that one.
I don't know, but that's just what it reminds me of.
Lionels are still just as annoying in this one. Like I think this is the first one that they were doing, so I can see the history of like them making them menaces. They're very menacing. The rings can be pretty important too. Like one of them will make it so that you can't tiles that would normally crumble and make you fall won't crumble. You can do risk reward ones. I've been currently using the level 2 damage ring, which is double damage, but you also take double damage.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I'm like loving it because like one spin attack just destroys stuff. It's like I'd rather do that.
Sure.
But yeah, a lot of the environment, like the dungeon rooms, are just designed to be like annoying. I think they're just like, oh my gosh, like really, like this is just like. It's a different approach. I was like, I don't remember seeing anything before they made these games, and it's something I do see in that like DNA going forward.
Sure, yeah.
From that, good music. I enjoyed the music, and yeah, it's just fun revisiting this one.
Yeah, I always thought it was really sick that there was the 4 seasons in that game.
Yeah,
I played Ages more, I think, because that was the first one I had. But I always really thought it was cool with the seasons, like especially because there's 4 of them.
Yeah,
that's really rad.
Yeah, like a lot of that. Like I mean, again, like making it winter, and like you have like some like ledges that had gaps. Now there's like a giant pile of snow, and you can like walk across it. Like
that's really
there's
cool.
A lot of good consideration put there. So I think that's one of the the bigger appeals. And then like figure out like how do I get to a spot? I clearly need to know it. I need to change this. So how do I do this? And it feels rewarding when you get those new season powers. It's like, oh, now I can finally do this and I can finally get here. Like that's so cool. But for every one of those, I think there's something like equally kind of like frustrating. There's a part in the desert where you have to carry around a pirate head who talks, and he'll alert you. You're trying to find a lost bell to give to the captain so that they could set sail to a part of Hollow Drum where this game takes place that you need to go next. And he's like, I'll start like, screaming or whatever. I'll start like moving my head when you're near it. And I'm like walking everywhere. And I'm like, what? I've walked like every inch. And then I accidentally walk over sand. And I mean, I'd been this before. I just forgot this. Like you walk over sand. Some of them have pitfalls that go somewhere, and some are just like do damage and respawn you. One of them, you get close enough, the alarm goes off. I'm like, oh, you had to like walk that close. I was like, man, that was, I don't know about that. Like there should have been something a little bit more contextual there. Sure. I just think sometimes it lacks a little bit of context, and where there's this familiarity with some of the older ones I've played to death, that I don't deal with that anymore. But this one I haven't played as much, so not having that in like the memory of how to like completely beat this game again and going back, it's almost like a new game to me. It's like, oh yeah, this isn't very well explained. I could see how some people get frustrated with this for sure.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of one of them on a stream a while back, but I didn't finish. But before that, like the only time I played was like when they first came out. When I got a GBA and they came out on Game Boy Color.
Yeah. I remember the commercials for this game too.
Oh, they were sick. The CG ones.
Link,
yeah, they were epic.
Because this was post Ocarina of Time, wasn't it?
Yeah. About 3 years later.
Yeah, this was 2001.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, was that late? Wow.
Yeah. I haven't found a way to access the GBA room though, so I'm hoping there's some way, like a password or maybe they add to do that, because that's a bummer if you can't. I mean, it's
Did you see some of the stuff people were posting about like these Super Game Boy things that stuff was hidden in there, like actual like Super Nintendo versions of stuff in the Game Boy cartridge.
That's insane.
Like 2-player multiplayer and stuff like that. And it's only available if you play it on a Super Game Boy.
Super Game Boy was so awesome.
Yeah.
God, that was great.
This game also does the seeds, because these games were originally called Mystical Seed or whatever. It was like one other thing. Like there's like a fire one to burn bushes.
Right.
There's a scent one which I didn't use at all, which attracts monsters. I haven't used that at all. Then there's a like equivalent of like the Pegasus shoes boots. There's like a speed one that makes you run faster. There's one that warps you. So you use it, just whirlwind warps you in any tree that gives you the seeds. You can warp to those that you've seen. And then the last one's a mystery seed, which on the mystery owl statues will come to life and give you a tip. But there's other objects in the game that they will react to. But it's just something I forgot about that they added in there. I think they were throwing a lot into this game, and maybe I would say like maybe less would have been more in some parts. And I agree with you, Brad, that maybe because they had to develop 2 games simultaneously, there's a little bit of
some of the quality could suffer.
Some of it suffers. Like I think taking the best of both games and combining into one probably would have been a stronger thing. And honestly, Minish Cap was like their next Oh, sorry, 4 swords, but Minish Cap was the next real mainline.
So
player game.
Capcom, were they the main developer on this game?
So flagship was there, and it was just overseen.
They're a Capcom team,
and then the Zelda team just supervised. The development.
It's pretty interesting that like Capcom worked on a Zelda game.
Yeah, it was part of that their partnership during that time, that and the GameCube era, the Capcom 5 and stuff like that, and the precursor to Platinum Games and all that. Then they all were over there doing their stuff.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see a different team work on Zelda. Like a new one, I guess. Kind of like how they did with this.
Well, I mean, technically, like Grezzo has
but they just remade one, though.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It would be nice to give them like a brand new original one to try their hand at. But I mean, you're kind of are seeing that because like Fujibayashi. I mean, Skyward Sword was a game helmed by him. They tried to do something different, but like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's unique direction is like traces back to this team starting on Oracle Ages and Oracle Seasons.
But I'm talking like a completely different company though, like in modern day making a game, like a Zelda game.
Yeah. Who do you want?
Oh, who do I want? I mean, I think Yacht Club would have done a great one if it was 2D especially. I think they did a really good one. Obviously, I would like to see what From Software does. I'm not saying I need Zelda to be dark or anything like that, but I would just like to see how they approach design-wise of a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Zelda's been pretty great lately, so I can't really complain too much. But it was just an interesting, especially with Zelda, because last time they did that was with the CDI games, and that was not very good. So
yeah.
But yeah, I guess it was that Capcom relationship. They had a strong relationship at that time. Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to play through these both again. Yeah, go ahead.
They're not mainline ones, but Hyrule Warriors. We forgot about
yeah.
that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
We're forgetting
True.
a few.
Yeah, you're
there
right.
definitely
True.
are spin-offs that have...
Spin-off, different types of games.
Yeah.
Muso games.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Okay, the final game is Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing some more of this now.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff to play right now. I haven't had a lot of time to play other stuff as much as I wanted to, but I have been playing some of this every now and then. Like 20-something hours in now.
Nice.
So I spent a good amount of time in this game. I am still in Act 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw Huber was still in Act 1 too. It's like, man,
Act 1's
Act
very
1 is
long.
big.
It's kind of insane how dense this game is and how much there is to it. You know, the start of the first act is you're outdoors, you're at that crash ship site, and you got a bunch of stuff in the surrounding area. But it's like I'm underground right now in the Underdark, and it's like I've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a
Huber's
lot of
there
stuff
too.
down there.
Huber's struggling.
Yeah. It's brutal, but it's been great. People have been talking about this game for a long time or recently, and there's a lot of positive things saying it. I think it's really good. I think this is an excellent game. The only thing I'm curious about is down the line is how will I feel about this game near the end? I'm really curious about. So far, it's been excellent, but this game is going to be 100 hours probably like that. So I am curious to see how much it changes and how it holds me as I go through there. But anyways, so I am in the Underdark now. Yeah, I won't do any main plot story spoilers or anything like that. But recently I kind of stuck with the same party for a long time in the game. Then I was recently you know what? Let's swap some people in. Let's mess around. I was getting a little too comfortable with my party, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got these other party members. I need to bring them in.
Just using a lot of the same skills over and over kind of
thing. And I was just getting really familiar with them. I should try a new party member to see a new class and how they interact with the party on the field. So I brought in, I set a star into the side who's the vampire rogue guy. I brought in Will, who's a warlock. At first I was I don't know about Will. We'll see how it goes. Warlock. I don't know about Warlock. I got this skill. So with Warlock, you do a lot of Eldritch Blasts. A lot of Eldritch Blast. I got this skill for Eldritch Blast where it can push people back when I do it.
Nice.
And I'm in the Underdark, so there's a lot of cliffs.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
And I forgot I had this. I zapped the guy, just went poof, flying off a cliff. I was like, oh! I totally forgot about it. And it was just so great. I loved it. And there's also, of course, the game has so many good
environmental kills are just
they're so satisfying in this game, Blood, because you can do it to anybody. Bosses, you can do it to.
Yeah.
I've pushed some hard guys. In a lot of games, they wouldn't let you do this kind of stuff. No, you gotta kill them normally, kind of thing. This game's just nah. If you can do it, you can do it. You can just push. You won't get their loot, but you can just push them off a cliff if you get lucky or something like that. And I just love that because I've definitely done that. I've knocked some dudes off cliffs before, and it felt really satisfying. I'll miss out on whatever loot they had, but I got out of the scenario from doing that. But just exploring this Underdark, just a whole bunch of new factions. There's drow kind of stuff in there. There's more dwarves going on. There's this really funny part. I got on a boat, and it just set me off. And I didn't know where I was going. I was like, all right, we're going to go. This guy pulls up to me, dude, and he's like, where's so-and-so? And I was pretty much trying to bluff my way, I was friends with them. But there's just an option to push them. And I was like, oh boy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to push this guy off. You get the dice roll. The dice roll's so fun. I love the dice rolls in this game. You depending on your stats, you can have a better chance. You can have bonuses from players, but there is still a slight chance. You can mess something up. You can use points of inspiration that you can get by performing stuff in the game to get second chances. But just I pushed this guy just off the boat, and it was awesome. He's like a bigger, stronger enemy, and I just laughed because it just worked. It's God, I love this kind of stuff in this game. But yeah, the game's been delightful. I've been having a lot of fun. I think the cast of characters you're with are really strong so far. I brought this up before, but just talking with the characters and how well the presentation of that is, and the voice acting and the character animations are really strong. And of course, all the freedom and combat you can do, you can really do a lot of stuff and approach situations. You have a lot of freedom to do that. I think that could be overwhelming for a lot of people, for sure, especially because this game's turn-based and figuring out movement. That's maybe not something a lot of people have done, because this game has gotten a lot of people into this game. And I wonder how many people this is their first CRPG, because Divinity 2 was my first one. So it definitely, when I played Divinity 2, it took me some learning curves for sure. And being familiar with D&D has helped me with this game somewhat too, where I'm yeah, I get this, but it seems like people have figured it out. But Yeah, it's just been a delightful time. I'm just having so much fun going through here, hanging out with my party, making choices, seeing what... I don't know what the right choice is all the time, so that's great. I just love that. You just don't know. I will say there's this encounter. This lady, this female dwarf's like, yo, find my husband. He's out there. He's lost. He's kind of dumb. And I found him, and he was like stuck in a very dangerous area where there's like explosive stuff around him. And he's like, help me out. Give me my pack. So I got his backpack, but if I tried to get to him, like walk him, stuff around him would blow up. But there was ledges around the side that I could jump around. I went around those sides. All right, I was like, okay, I got to get this guy's backpack to him. And I was like, oh, yeah, you can throw stuff. So I threw his pack. I threw it at him. I was like, oh, he'll probably catch it. No, he did not catch it. In fact, the backpack hit him, and he died. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I killed this guy. Oh, no. Whoops. I was like, I probably should have thrown it just close to him, but I thought he would catch it. But I was just like... That's just like the beauty of the game. It's just like you try stuff and sometimes stuff works out and sometimes it just doesn't. And it's just been delightful, you know? Some things work, some things don't. And I'm totally cool with that. And I just kind of find out how it goes. And I've been impressed just how well situations continue to go no matter what outcome I have, you know? Sometimes I think like, I worry about stuff. I really worry about like, oh man, I hope I don't miss out on like some sick quest line because I did something dumb. But the game has always presented something interesting to me throughout the whole time. So it's been really fascinating and super impressive how much freedom and how many outcomes there are. I'm curious to see how things will progress as I go through the game. I have no idea how many acts there are. I know there's at least 3. Like, I haven't even been to Baldur's Gate yet.
Right.
I can't wait to go there because you hear about it throughout the game and like people from there and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting through this game and playing more of it. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been a great time, and I recommend people checking it out for sure. Maybe not just buying it right away if you never played the game. Check out a stream or something like that. See if it seems interesting to you.
Yeah.
But I think it's an excellent video game.
And Huber's going to be going for a while.
Yeah, Huber's going to go on for a while, but yes, I do think it's an excellent, excellent video game. And it's great to see it get so much praise right now. It's been nice.
For sure.
I know there's been some controversy around the game. Of course, whenever there's something big, there's always going to be controversy, but cool game, really awesome. All right, it is time for some emails. Once again, if you want to send in questions, head on over to patreon.com/easyally. Support us over there. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, I forgot to say this. If you listen to us on a podcast app or anything like that, please leave us a nice review if you enjoy the show. That does help us out a lot. It helps us get spread out to more people. I want to spread that syndrome through the world. Like Wesker. All right, this first question is from TJ Price. Greetings, allies. I had an idea regarding the Activision/Blizzard deal and wanted to see what you guys thought of it.
Okay.
What if they let the Call of Duty devs take a swing at Halo? Maybe keep 343 on hand as a support team instead of calling the shots. I think either Treyarch or Infinity Ward would do a much better job than what we've gotten recently. Love and respect. So this has been a big topic about just a lot of their IPs in general, because Activision Blizzard is a humongous company with so how many Call of Duty teams are there? Like 4 or 5, and
you got
all
Raven,
the other
you got
people
Sledgehammer, you got Beanox, you got everybody that ever made a game for Activision.
You got
making Call of Duty
so many people on this game, and you got people like who did I just cannot remember their name off the top of my head. No, who did the Tony Hawk remasters?
Vicarious Visions.
Oh,
yeah,
they're on Diablo stuff
now they are. But I'm saying like you have all those teams because they did Diablo Resurrected too, which was great by the way. So you got like all these teams who have been kind of sucked into the Blizzard IPs or like the Activision IPs, and I think this idea of giving other teams a shot at like Halo would be super interesting to me. But I wonder about if any of that will actually happen. Because Call of Duty is a machine. And I cannot see the machine of Call of Duty stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, where are they getting these resources to put onto Halo when they, like, it's taking everything they have now to keep Call of Duty going at what its current rate? They'd have to, like...
There have been rumors off and on about them slowing down and not doing yearly releases on, like Warzone will keep going. But the typical Call of Duty,
that is the rumor, but it has not happened yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so much money to be left on the table to not do that. But I think it'd be really sick to see Call of Duty to make a Halo game. Like 343 obviously has been doing Halo for a long time. Maybe have them as a support team on something else. Like
Right.
I'm not saying like I don't want 343 not to do anything, but I'm just curious. See, they did 3 Halo games essentially at this point, so it'd be great to see another studio do something else, or like, of course, Raven, who made great games like that. But I don't know if a lot of these companies are going to get that chance to just be like, I don't necessarily know if the Call of Duty shackles are going to be broken free for them necessarily.
Yeah, but I think one of the lessons potentially, and that could cross over, is that like most of these Activision Call of Duties, like as we're saying, it's like they're not just being done by one team.
Well,
like
so many people work on these games.
Teams are working together, and it's kind of a blended, combined effort. And so I think that's the sort of thing that really it can benefit Halo. It's like, okay, 343 still has they've got a really strong foundation right now with Halo Infinite, with the gunplay, with the classic Halo modes, and like with the stuff that they've done with Forge. Like that stuff is solid. It's like the places where they've kind of still are struggling with are the campaign, which is an interesting factor because it's like Call of Duty's got some strong campaigns, but they're not like a Halo campaign.
No.
And they're not really what you want out of a Halo campaign, especially if like Infinite is sort of like the direction that they're going. It's like a Call of Duty game's never been like that, so it's a little weird. But again, like something like Raven or somebody that's had more experience before Call of Duty might be able to bring another take to that. But then the biggest thing that Halo could probably learn from the Call of Duty guys is just how to keep that games as a service thing satisfying. Because I feel like that's where they've gotten the most flack from people.
Yeah,
is that like,
definitely.
Yeah, your battle pass sucks.
Yeah.
This game is great to play for a week, but I don't want to like keep playing it over and over and over again. So
yeah, I mean, even if one of these other studios if like, let's say they didn't want to make a new Halo yet, they just made like a single player thing for Halo, because that's not coming anytime soon from 343 about campaign stuff or DLC, because it definitely feels like it could use something like that.
Yeah.
But even like, I would love to see these teams just tackle other IPs or something like that, other Blizzard IPs, like someone do StarCraft, something with StarCraft maybe. Like, I know they've like canceled StarCraft games before, like Ghost obviously, but something different with the Warcraft IP.
Yeah.
Besides just WoW.
Well, yeah, you see what Riot's doing right now.
Exactly.
Like putting out all these crazy little spin-offs of every genre they can think of.
Riot is what Blizzard should have been doing. All the stuff they've done, like the TV show and like all these different types of games in the League of Legends universe. It's like Blizzard could totally have that kind of stuff, but they've dropped the ball so much, it seems like. But yeah, hopefully this will bring some great new things we didn't expect down the line. Maybe we'll get a new Crash Bandicoot game or something. Right. I don't know. Because there's Toys for Bob's, right? Who made Crash 4, which I heard was very good. I never played it, but people seem to really like that game.
Also sounds like they're really hard.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I totally believe that. But yeah, I'm excited whenever this deal goes through to see what will happen to it. Hopefully there'll be some great new things, but
what's also hard, though, is like, some of that stuff is sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it necessarily,
Yep.
It's like the game is better, but you don't know why.
Yeah. There's still a lot we have no idea about. But all we can do is be hopeful, I guess. Or you can be cynical if you want. It's all right. All right, this next one is from Neo JD. Hey, gang. I'm currently wrapping up my first playthrough of Crisis Core, and it made me wonder, why do people like Cloud so much? Sure, he looks cool and is stoic, but someone like Zach doesn't get nearly the same amount of love. Brad, I know you're a big fan of Cloud, so you can give me some insight into why. Well, first of all, Zach's not the main character in Final Fantasy VII. A lot of people don't even know who Zach was in that game.
Yeah.
And that's like a humongous thing. Obviously, Cloud's visuals obviously were a huge distinction of him as a character. Like, in 1997, that was like the coolest character design of all time. But I love Zach personally. I think Zach's awesome, and most people do like Zach, but Zach just doesn't get the screen time that Cloud gets nearly at all. And I'll just say what I like about Cloud is in like his approach to his story is a lot of it is Cloud is kind of like a failure to an extent. What he set off to do and what happened, like I don't really want to spoil some of the future games like that, but Cloud is also not the most reliable person. He is not the traditional kind of hero that I would say the character. He is an awkward person. He's uncomfortable a lot of things, and he struggles a lot, which I really like about him. You'll find out more if you don't know, but that's one thing. Those are some of the things I like about Cloud. I don't think he is the superhero. It's like I think about Naruto, Blood, you know? The hero, but someone that struggles a lot. Who's kind of a failure in a lot of regards. Like, that was Cloud. Cloud did not succeed in what his original goal was.
I will also add that at the time, Final Fantasy VII, PlayStation, text-based dialogue, no VO. So a little bit more open to interpretation, or maybe people weren't as in tune with the vibes of Cloud at the time.
Sure.
So people who grew up with that and that was his first exposure. Yeah, he's like cool. He's the hero of this big game, and he just looks awesome. And it wasn't until probably around Advent Children, it's like, oh wait, he's kind of like this. I don't know how many people caught on.
The first time I heard Cloud's voice was Kingdom Hearts, I think.
Yeah, like Kingdom Hearts, and then Advent Children's like, wow, he's you always go he's just emo and stuff, and it's well, I mean,
he's different in Advent Children.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so people are like, wait, and that imagery kind of propagated a little bit more. But if you go back to the original one, he's doing sick poses, when he arrives to the Avalanche members when they're like, oh, did we leave Cloud behind? Comes in here spinning his sword. Yeah, the parade showing him this is the victory pose. Is dude, Cloud's so everyone's looks up to Cloud, even if he was like that.
And it's a lot of that is kind of explained in the original game of why he's kind of like that, but I don't really want to spoil it for you if you don't know. But there is a reason behind a lot of the way he acts, and that makes me like his character a lot more, is why he is the way he is. You'll find out more as the anthology continues, or you can play the original game, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, I think just in general, I think, that's the character you start the game with. Right?
Yeah.
That's the character that you attach to, and then
main character. Yeah.
You gravitate to, and by the time you start finding out about this Zack stuff, for me, when I first played that game, I was just so confused. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who Zack is. I don't care. Just give me to Sephiroth and let me cut him in half.
Because you see Zack in the first game. I'm trying to think I think a lot of that stuff's just optional, if I recall correctly, but I could be wrong. It's been a while. But anyways, you just see this guy and you're because the graphical limitations at the time, you're who's just this Cloud with black hair? It's just who is this guy kind of thing like that. You just don't get that full Crisis Core, you get a lot more of that.
Yeah.
It's you really get to know Zack, which is great, but yeah. Cloud's just he's the main character, and he gets a lot of development, so I think that makes him a strong character. Yeah. All right. This next one's from Danky King. Hey guys, I've been playing through some of the DLC for Remnant 1 and was thinking about the specific brand of procedurally generation those games use. Obviously, it's very well suited to a third-person shooter of that type, but I was wondering if you thought there were any other game or genres or even other franchises that could benefit from using a similar system.
Explain the system.
So basically, it's random what kind of environment you'll get. There's a select number you can get, and the layout of the level, and possibly some of the bosses I think that you'll fight. Okay. So there's a random chance that things will not always be the same.
Okay, is that very different from something like Returnal? Or
no, Returnal was here's the biome, the same biome.
Okay.
Remnant's not necessarily like that.
Okay.
If you do World 1, Stage 1 or whatever, it could be a different biome.
Gotcha.
For a different person.
Interesting.
So what I thought about was maybe more Returnal style, I guess, Damiani, or it could be whatever is a Castlevania game. You go into the castle, and what part of the castle you get will be random. Like a Metroidvania. The castle layout will be just random, and so will what sections. There's the garden area or there's the lab area, but it's random which one you get, and the layout of it is kind of random. They could do something like that. I also think about Mega Man or something like that in that sense.
Right.
You're in Wily's castle, and what parts of the castle you go through or get will be random. They could do something like that.
Yeah, I feel like Mega Man's a better example. I feel like something Castlevania would be really hard to do random because I think so much of that is the joy of seeing how the level design all connects, and it takes a lot of intentionality to pull that off. I'm sure people have done it, but Mega Man, I think I think it works better because it kind of like what you were saying with Double Dragon. It's like there's this cool element of it's like, okay, well I don't know which power I'm going to get first, and so like my tools in this level might be different every time that I go into this.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Damiani? You got any examples you could think of?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea about like a Metroidvania, but like it seems like a nightmare to like make it like as Blood pointed out. Because I was thinking of like Castlevania or like even like a Super Metroid. It's like, oh yeah, like, what if you had like the way you progress, like each playthrough is different biomes and like they could be different layouts, but like how many permutations can you do before it becomes like it can't connect or it feels like too not generic but like doesn't feel unique?
What if there was like, okay, so you go to stage 1, there's like 3 possible biomes you could get like that. Think of it like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be more doable. Like the more complex you get,
because I think Remnant's kind of like that. And from what I recall, there was like a couple different things you get at the first world or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. Like, it's like Samus approaching a planet and like, ship's crashing. You got to pick us, and like you don't. It just the story's like, computer, just pick a spot. I'm not fast enough, and like. Each time you start a game, it like crash lands at a different spot on the planet. It's like that's your new starting point, and it's like so you're gonna get like maybe crashed in like the snowy area first, or maybe you crashed in like the lava area first, and just get some variation there. But also like as you proceed, it'd be like nice that like you won't approach this biome till later would be kind of cool. I guess for Castlevania, like they could do something like that too. Blood, it's just like maybe it'd be sick if like you arrive somehow at the top of Dracula's castle and like but he's not at the top, he's in the basement, so you got to work your way down this time, or maybe you arrive at like the castle has like another part of it that goes across a bridge, and so it's like it's a 2-part castle, so you start over on the east wing instead of the west wing or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Metroidvania structure necessarily. It could be like the old ones. It's just like you get this level now. There's like 3 combinations of that level or something like that, I guess.
And it'd be fun, as you said, with like what power up you get first. Like, well, this area you'll be granted this, so like now you got to try and play with like this style, and like just the challenge of having to like master the different unique items or move sets, and keeping it not too complex.
Yeah, I was thinking like a Contra or a Metal Slug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would love just a new one of those games in general.
Right.
That'd be great. One of those games. Like, not Contra. What was the last Contra they did? Hard? No, it wasn't.
I don't think that's the last one. But they've
the one that came out that was bad. It was like PS4. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically.
No. Just make a 2D one again. All right. This next question is from Tateros. Hi, allies. This year I started to be a part-time grad student while working. I have now a lot less time to play games for the next 2 years. As gaming is my favorite hobby, I am still trying to incorporate it into my schedule somehow. I initially tried it with short but frequent gaming sessions like 1 hour Street Fighter 6, but found that less satisfying and noticed that I would use it as an excuse for not studying. Recently, I settled on having a cheat day at least once per month or after a big assignment. While I probably should not play an RPG like Baldur's Gate like this, having a full day of gaming allowed me to sink again my teeth into a game and left me more overall satisfied. I would therefore like to ask, what would you prefer for gaming sessions? Short with high frequency or long with bigger gaps in between? Love and respect. So, just small bursts, like an hour here or there, or a long gap, but like a full day or something of gaming. To me, I guess it depends on what game you're interested in.
Sure.
Types of games.
Yeah.
Like, they brought up Street Fighter 6, so I think it's a great example of, just a couple matches maybe here and there. I think that works really well for that game.
Yeah, definitely depends on the game. I do find more and more that I'm doing the playing a game for a short amount of time, but more frequently than, playing along, like outside of like games I'm reviewing, I will just play a game for like an hour or maybe even less than an hour once like a day, and like keep coming back to it and just doing it. That's literally what I've been doing with Oracle of Seasons. Like maybe a variation of anywhere to roughly around an hour per session, and like once a day, maybe twice a day, one day here or there, but generally it's like I'm not just like going through it, and been doing it like same with like started doing Pikmin like longer sessions, but now it's like, I'll play for like an hour and then like go do something else. So that's, I don't know. I guess I would probably prefer that, unless like it was like a new I don't know. Like, it's got to be a certain type of game. Like, I imagine, like, I guess I have the luxury, like, if I do want to play it more, I just play it more. So, yeah.
Like we said, it depends on the types of games. For me, for the types of games I usually like to play, I think long gaps but a longer session would be better. So, like, I get to play, 8 hours of Baldur's Gate or something like that. Because, play, like, an hour of Baldur's Gate every now and then. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're in something where you're like, oh, okay, well, my whole time today was I just kind of reorganized my inventory and talked to some people in town, and I didn't really get to get any good fights, and
Yeah, but it's like, hey, if I just want to play Fortnite or whatever, something like that, it's great.
Throw in a couple
Yeah,
rounds.
it just depends on the types of games on the docket, I guess.
Just hate the long gaps between those.
Yeah,
that's the trouble too, yeah.
Like I forgot what they said the next,
I mean,
whatever their gap the longest would be.
Yeah, if I were in their situation, I would like never play any long games and like find something that was like a casual game that like a Fortnite or something, and like just play that 1 hour every now and then just for like fun. Street Fighter might be like a little bit more. I mean, it can be casual too, but some people might be like, they might think it's a little bit more competitive and want to like get better at it. Whereas Fortnite, I really think you just goof around and have a good time in that, and it's fun.
Yeah, because they said they prefer a cheat day once a month.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, that's a long time to go.
That's a long time, but
yeah. I mean, if it's me personally, it's like, well, I don't have time for gaming, and like, I'd rather not try and start something, and like, I'd rather watch Netflix or something.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Let me watch some movies or TV shows, and like when I'm done with this and I have more time to get back into gaming, because like I feel like it's just gonna really.
There's a fair number of short games too, though.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
I Rush.
Yeah,
gotta
it's a
get
shorter
to that.
game. Yeah. You could probably beat that in a day if you really wanted to, for sure. But I'm glad you found something that works for you. Good luck in school. All right, last question is from Brandon K. Gann. Hello, everyone. With the unexpected but still welcome surprise shadow drop of Quake 2 Remastered,
Oh yeah.
I hope I can find the time to squeeze in my first playthrough of this classic before next month. But with this out-of-nowhere release now taking the top spot of my backlog, I am curious to know if there are any classic games you adore where if remastered versions came out without any hint it was about to be available, no matter how unlikely you would be to drop everything to give it a go. Thanks for taking my submission if you do, and stay easy, fellow allies. So, I guess just a remaster that comes out of nowhere, and we're like, okay, I have to play this right now.
I mean, it happened to me this year. Metroid Prime.
Yeah, you're just like, okay.
I didn't even expect to play through that whole thing, but it happened. Yeah.
You just did.
Yeah.
What about you, Damiani?
Trying to think of an oddball pick, because like obviously, any of the classic Nintendo or whatever things, like sure, like they dropped that out of nowhere. Another one of those is like maybe not Metroid Prime 2 when it stopped, but like any of those other ones, like they did a remaster of like A Link to the Past, or Oracles drops out of nowhere, like a remaster. Like now, so should I play? Like I jump into that immediately. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger. Definitely one.
And we had Super Mario RPG, but that was announced, so that wasn't out of nowhere. But if that had been like just dropped, it'd be like goodbye everything. I'm playing that.
Yeah, I'd really like. I think if they just did like, hey, Tenshu collection 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. I'd be like, okay, I'm playing at least one of those right now, all the way through.
Infamous 2.
Infamous 2, blood.
That's one that
I'm
would probably
surprised
get me
and
jump
not
back
surprised
in.
that those are out at the same time.
Right.
It's like, I mean, great. Infamous games are really good, especially 2. 2 is awesome. Where's those Resistance games also, dude?
Dude.
Yeah.
They did a remaster of Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Since I know they've re-released it, but like it'd be cool to see that game get like updated and enhanced and stuff.
Dash
I think
Rendar.
That game would take a full reimagining.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't. There's a lot to be desired there for a modern audience.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, when we tried to replay it like
true.
years ago, I was like, oh no, they need to update this, please.
Yeah. Cool game. Love that game.
Literally one of the earliest console first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's third person for most of it, blood.
Yeah, it's got first
You can do
person.
first person,
Yeah.
though.
You can. Yeah, you can actually go either way.
Yeah. Ahead of its time. Damn, I haven't played the game in so long. Wow. Do you remember there was like the robot fight? It was like a flying robot, I think. It was like later part of the game.
It's IG-88 or whatever.
No, it's not. That's the train level.
Oh, train level.
It's later.
Oh, that other one, yeah. Oh, that one sucked.
Yeah.
That one sucked. I hated that with the maze below.
Yeah.
Fucking that one sucked.
That
was terrible.
I always hated the sewer level or whatever.
Yeah, that one was bad too.
God. But Hoth Base was super cool.
That was
awesome.
Speeder bike, Hoth Base.
Yeah.
It's like the last fight was still cool, like flying your ship.
That was awesome, dude.
Fun. There's like mixed in there good stuff and a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah. Hell of a game.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you for listening or watching or hanging out with us. We appreciate it greatly. Please support us on Patreon if you can. If you cannot, it's all good. We're just happy to have you here as a listener. So thank you very much once again, and we will see you next episode. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.